Experience. So many young people now, they're inside all the time. They're watching television. Yep. They're playing video games, but don't have that experience. Whap. Ooh! That experience.
I'm surprised I haven't made this.
Experience.
It's so funny. Let's see what else this guy's got.
Talking about your relationship with Vladimir Putin, how did you first meet?
Dear Steven, please come to castle. I make cake for you. Here is truly Putin. Putin.
What the fuck? Okay, less quality. 6 videos. Okay. All right.
Go back to the gorillas.
Monkey time.
Comes to venturing out in the rain, gorillas are not too different from us. They're not thrilled about it. The gorilla on the left, Kima, takes a while to think about it at a zoo in Columbia, South Carolina. But the lure of the lettuce is too strong.
It's still so funny.
So finally, when he does head out, he adopts a familiar pose, trying to shield his head from the rain. How many of us do that? After getting the lettuce, he's off to a secluded place.
That's so funny.
I'm meteorologist Dominica Davis.
It's so unusual.
Yeah, check this one out. This one is great. This is one of my favorite gorillas in the rain.
I saw that one looking for them. He full on sprints. Look at him go.
He's like, they live in the rainforest, right? So like they probably like never are like getting rained on. They're probably always under trees when it rains.
True.
So they just evolved to hate the rain, I guess.
That's very funny. It's like, oh, hey, it's Bigfoot. I think we have one more. He lost it on the way. That's so funny. What do you think was going to happen?
See how slow my shit is. Because I have other tabs open, including StreamYard. This is like really shit quality. Might just be me.
Nope, it's the video.
The other one's got hay on his head too.
That's so funny. I wonder if it's learned or it's just like anything has to be on my head. Like maybe it's a learned thing.
I don't know.
Anyway, this is our prelim video.
All right, so we're back with the only game where the more you enslave the people, the more they love you for it. It's City State. So the last time we created a land where the government owned everything. And although our city-state was basically made of poor, poverty-stricken lowlifes, it actually worked. And everyone was fairly happy, probably because they didn't have the tenacity to fight back against the government. Today, we're doing something different, damn it. Custom game. So today, we're going to do the exact opposite. Today, I want to make a place where there is no laws. Everyone just does whatever the hell they want. The people run free, raping and pillaging each other for the benefit of, I guess just themselves. But whatever, it's going to be an anarchy, all right? I want as little government involvement as possible. Let's do an island this time. Because why not? Freaking sweet. Okay, what would you call a city state with no rules where people do whatever the hell they want? Washington with more coffee. Damn it. Got it. Okay, so we're going as anarchy-esque as possible here in the beginning. It's going to take a while to probably get full anarchy. Individual judgment, responsibility, and self-ownership. Private property, because people should have that. Yep. Limited government power. Hell yes. More regulations, less
Whoa,
regulations.
whoa.
Less regulations.
I'm just curious
This is
about
he
which
said
way.
that I saw that laissez-faire tick. This is
Mhm.
ANCAP propaganda, bro.
This is what I was curious about, is whether it was anarchy or ANCAP. So I'm
like
curious about his choices.
Welcome everyone.
and
Watch
fucking
more coffee.
what was it? Disco Elysium, right? The ideology it presented, like the ANCAP ideology,
Yes.
you would laugh at like just how they present it. Because
It's
like
absurd.
well, yeah, because like the guy basically has brain damage
Okay.
from drugs and alcohol, right? So he's like
Uh-huh.
trying to piece his life together. So like even fascism is twisted. But like they like are telling him that taxes take like 98% of his paycheck. Like his own brain is talking to him. Like most of the game is you talking to your own brain
Yeah.
and
That's
your
so
necktie,
funny.
who's also in your brain.
Your necktie. Cool.
Mm-hmm. That might be something with like I have a feeling that like because like there's like a thing where it's like extra help in the options.
Mm.
I have a feeling that's what the necktie is. It's just some extra help. Like it's a tutorial thing or something. I don't know.
Mm.
Capitalist
Couldn't tell you.
oligarchy.
I don't know how to play
For
video
now.
games.
Sweet baby Jesus of the oil. I guess we're building over here. I learned from my previous mistakes. Everyone gets a friggin' park. Should the government provide housing? No. Everyone gets to fend for themselves, basically. The upper class is totally okay with this. How should criminals be dealt with? Prisoners are all assigned to private jail, so everyone gets to figure out how they want to do their time. Actually, this one's even better and it makes us more money, so we'll do this right now. Hoping everyone's ready to drill for some
He just
friggin' oil.
put
It's
penile
all gonna be
labor, bro.
privately owned. Nothing is
Yeah.
owned by the state.
But
More
I will
parks,
say
damn it.
this.
See this crap right over here? It's like a friggin' zit.
Let's say, theoretically, this is our world. This is the way it's gone. You know, maybe this is the way out.
The second you see this stuff, you got to annihilate it off the face of your city. Gender equality, you guys figure it out. Capitalist anarchy, we're already there. I'm going to tell you something. Capitalist anarchy. I think I like the ring of that government more than any other we've ever had.
Cringe.
Like Moses. We're going straight through the water. Our entire economy is going to be built off of the back of oil. Not that it's a bad thing. I mean, what the hell? As is typical for basically anything Gray ever does, we're in the red monetary-wise really poorly. Immigration. All of the immigration. Taxi cab regulations. What the hell? Anyone can be a taxi cab driver. Sounds
Nice.
good. Out comes our very first set of bonds. Here we go. There's a low-cost housing backlog. All right, hold on. Where the hell? What the hell is...
I feel like if you were to cold start an anarchist society, it would gravitate this way initially.
Towards capitalism?
Possibly. Give it like in a vacuum, right? You're like an AI. Let's say an AI in a vacuum is given decisions and its only parameters is as little government control as possible. I feel like it would have made the same choices.
What is this? Oh, it's a friggin' refinery. Okay. How should we deal with drug use? Legalize all drugs. Anyone can have whatever they want. Again, the upper class loves this. I don't understand it. More bonds.
I wonder why.
Oh, look at this. We got a mansion built with a tennis court. Why would the upper class? Oh, that's right. It seems like the upper class loves anarchy. I don't know why they would.
There are no classes in anarchy, so this is already broken.
Look at this. Greenhouse gas standards. To what extent should the government encourage lower carbon emissions? None. People can do whatever the hell they want. Is this our high class guy? Look what this guy has. This guy has like a 4-floor friggin' mansion with a giant ass pool. Damn.
Yeah, because he's got slave labor. He's got a plantation.
Actually, this whole area is a very upper class neighborhood. The rest of it's all middle class. Everyone has big ass houses and everything. These guys over here are living in the trailer park.
They only have one slave.
Right down the road, big money. All right, we need to start mining for friggin' gold because we're gonna run out of money real quick. Here's some over here. Gun control. Upper class loves that too. Okay, this little neighborhood over here is getting out of hand. Like, now we have, this guy has a garden on the top of his mansion. Like there's like a damn putting green up here.
All slaves.
More bonds. This anarchy is the weirdest thing. Look at all this. There's upper class and middle class people.
It is funny how
everywhere.
it's
like before
working,
it was
though.
all lower class, and now it's completely the opposite. Like everyone's middle and up. Look at this.
Yeah, well, it's a
Everyone's
game.
Middle and upper class.
Yeah,
now.
well, that's
More
exactly
It's a
right.
game, and the game already like was designed with these features in mind.
Mhm.
So like,
Yeah.
of course it works. There's literally a pathway
Yeah.
to it that's easy in the game.
Yes, yeah. which is like he's not making crazy decisions, or it's not like super in depth like Civ is, for example, right? In Civ, you can go full anarchy. It's not great for you. You make no money. It benefits you to be a conquering imperial shit show.
Well, that's just the mechanics of Civ. It's not that kind of
Yeah.
game. That's the point. It's like this doesn't show anything.
Yeah. It's still a fun sort of play on what if.
Damn it. All the people. This little peninsula is all high-end homes. Now, don't get me wrong. They're waiting to get ransacked and stabbed in the kidneys for their stuff. But in the meantime, man, they are putting down some houses
because
up in
anarchy is
here.
violence.
Wildlife preservation. We're not doing crap about it. Hopefully the wildlife doesn't get out of hand. There is a freaking balls ton of gold over here, and it's about to belong to us. Oh, damn. The roadways are totally congested right now. Jesus. I didn't know things were getting so busy.
Who will
I've been
build the
trying to keep
roads?
ourselves out of debt as much as possible, but it's tough, man. There you go. Little MS Paint never hurt anyone for the roads. Usually when you upgrade the roads, all the land around it gets upgraded. Yep. There goes. Alcohol and tobacco. No taxes.
Nice.
Do whatever you want with them. Again, the upper class is just thrilled about the way we're running things. Or I guess not running things. No water. There's no reason to have any liquid in my anarchy. I'd like to take a moment to show everyone the sprawling...
I know that's a bit silly, but I wish there was a bit more analysis, I guess, doing something like this of like why this might happen. I think this could be
because it's a game. It's
No,
designed.
I understand, but like theoretically, if you were to do something like this, yeah, this is funny, right? This is funny. You're playing it, no government, haha, anarchy, right? Violence. But if you were to actually do this, it would be, I think, an interesting thought game to analyze why this result might be happening, even if it is a game. Well, maybe if there was one a bit more complicated than this, Sims.
Stratego.
The friggin' metropolis that we have so far. We are still gruesomely in the red when it
Nice.
comes to money, but things are looking pretty impressive.
Yeah, you need
man.
tax,
There's
bro.
a couple of waterfront properties over here that are freaking stacked. Foundation of the arts. Sure, whatever. Who cares? So since we're so wealthy, like what happens if I put a beach down? I'm gonna put a beach right in the middle of the city. Before, like no one ever wanted to go to any of our ski slopes or beaches because I don't think that there was enough people that were highfalutin enough. So we'll see if this works. Oh my god, 450 occupancy. Holy Jesus, this thing's making us $158 a month. Okay, I was going about this the wrong
this is the
way.
Mexico
Gold is not the
strategy.
friggin' way to go. Sweet baby Jesus. How about a friggin' ski slope? Okay, occupancy is up to 900 people. We had like,
So, like-
7 or like 15 at our last.
All the tourism and vacation in Mexico is
Yeah.
owned by the cartels.
No shit.
Yeah.
Like Cancun and all that shit.
So like,
Mm.
but so they need to park their money through legitimate assets, right?
Yes.
Real estate,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they buy these resorts and they own these resorts, but they also like do the private security for the resorts. You know, so like the cartel have like a PMC security type network where they have like they literally like you're safer in these resorts run by the cartel than if you're outside of them, and they like basically build these little mini cities inside these resorts.
Do they have their own currencies?
No, but
That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? If
they'll
they made
take
their own
American
internal currencies?
dollars. So
Yeah, of course they will.
Ski slope. $194 a month in sales tax revenue. This is going to be our baby. All right, roads got to get upgraded over here so that more people can get to the ski slope. Labor law. Corporations.
And then
are
that
free to
money is the
elaborate
money
their
that gets
contracts.
put
So
in
this
Chase
basically
Bank.
means that people.
Yeah. Here we go. Let's actually look at what the questions say, right? And what the choice should be if we're going for anarchy, right? Should our labor law regulate more extensively work contracts and relationships between employees and employers? Actually, you know what? Anarcho-capitalism is the correct choice because it still has government.
what? I don't understand.
Anarcho-capitalism is the
I don't-
correct
it just-
framing for this.
Whatever.
So I think that because there's still a government technically, because you can't abolish the government in the actual game, clearly. So
you
it
are the
says,
government. You're the mayor.
should our labor law
I
regulate
think, yeah,
more
you know
extensively?
what Tropico is?
Yeah.
So like it's like basically you get to be like a Colombian like dictator type guy, you
Mhm.
know? And you can like you know, so that, but it's cartel resorts,
Yeah.
right? And like you don't even touch the drug business at all, but it's just about running beachfront property.
That's pretty funny. These are all pretty interesting options because it goes from corporations have all the control, right? Which, if we're going for anarchy, corporations should be kept in control because it should be people, which would mean that the labor laws should prohibit termination is a bit much. Termination rights and retirement plans. There you go. Third one.
Mandatory
one I
trade
would pick.
unions.
Yeah, it's more the should prohibit termination. The sort of red flags for me. Because at the end of the day, it should be labor rights, people rights, right? If we're going for anarchy.
I don't know. I don't care.
Can do whatever the hell they want when it comes to working, as long as they both sign a contract. It doesn't say that they have to sign it willfully. This can be total coercion. I just made prostitution legal. The upper class is totally fine with this. So we have a new weird issue that I haven't thought about. Our people are starting to become a lot of middle and upper class, which leaves not a lot of schleps to work the regular jobs. So our unemployment rate is always super low, and I can't open any new establishments, but we're almost...
What would solve this, John?
Tourism. You just convert to a tourism economy.
Immigration.
Well, you could also do kafala slaves like Dubai.
True.
But, you know, you do property. You do
Nope.
beachfront. You invest in your beachfront property.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Additional tax. I want to see every single vehicle giving Mother Nature the middle finger. Approve. Our ski slope is now making us $315 a month. I'm not gonna lie, this looks pretty good over here. Upper class guy got his kick-ass house right behind him. He's got a friggin' beach with a tiki bar.
There you
One
go.
thing
There's
Wade
the
loves
cartel.
more than anything else. It's a full liquor bar. Put another beach in there. I don't care about gold anymore. Bulldoze all this crap. All right, we're going through. I really hope that this doesn't collapse our entire economy, but I'm gonna go through and make every house upgrade a large house. You get an upgrade and you get an upgrade. Everyone gets upgrades. Oh, they're starting to do it. Whenever you see this building stuff, that's really good. That basically means that they're taking the upgrades and doing something with it.
So
Jesus.
government
What the hell is
subsidies.
this? Is this like a
Yeah.
Home Depot? It's called Twin Bond.
Yeah, that's exactly what just happened. Anarchy.
I don't know what it is, but I think it's making us money. Oh, it's inputting gold, iron, and oil. Huh. More ski slopes. What the hell is this? It's like something from the
Yeah, the way
Imperial
this is running,
Stormtroopers or
this would
something.
already be, you'd already be having to import a slave society.
Yes. Yeah. Literally already.
Like, this
yeah.
is not realistic. I mean, even the Americans do it. That's what's so funny about the border shit that we'll get into. Like,
do you want to do a goofy one before we jump into the new stuff, or do we want
there's
to do
plenty of stuff on there because some of the new stuff is still funny.
Yeah, true.
There's a
Do we
Charlie
wanna do
Kirk
the-
video about
the
how
twos?
the libs made him racist.
Okay.
That one's pretty funny.
Charlie Kirk. Yeah, okay, got it.
The left has created.
Look what they made.
Boeing manufactured planes poorly? Oh, there we go.
Corporate hiring practices.
And that's why I think this United story and the DEI story hits so hard, because we've all been in the back of a plane when the turbulence hits, or when you're flying through a storm and you're like, I'm so glad I saw the guy with the right stuff and the square jaw get into the cockpit before we took off. And I feel better now.
No, I mean, like, you want to go thought crime? Like, I'm sorry. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, that's you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't
that's
have done
not
that
who
before.
I am. That's not what I believe.
It is the reality the left has created. This is the reality the left has created.
Look what they made. They made us be racist.
Yeah, look what they made me. Look what you made me do. Is that all?
Yeah. It's like the fact that he goes, "You want to hear a thought crime? You should stop right there, bro."
Yeah.
But like, it just reminded, because like Jesse Lee Peterson, he was saying the same shit about the black pilot, you know, on Your Mom's House, because this is literally what they've been infected with, is like, be scared of planes if there's a black pilot now. Like, this is literally. Have you seen American History X?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so like they draw back the radicalizing moment to the father giving a speech about affirmative action.
Okay.
Right? You remember they're at the dinner
Yes.
table and he's talking about how now he has to worry if like the best guy's got his back, you know?
Yeah.
And that's so they're literally doing the American History X origin story. Like you couldn't get more default with how you're doing your racism shift right now.
Yeah. Pretty epic. That was not anarchy.
So does anarchy work or not? That I mean, you need
the function
slaves
of that game
if
was
that
you
game-
are the government. So you by default can't do that. You need to be like a god figure that dictates everything. And then maybe in a game it could work.
I could definitely win in anarchy the entire time in Civ.
Yeah. You reckon?
Oh yeah. I prefer to play Zerg though.
Zerg. All right, what are we doing now?
Whatever you have next.
Let's do Tim Pool crying about gay people.
Oh.
Gen Z voters who will decide the 2024 election are by far the most LGBTQ cohort to date. And they're ditching Christianity, conservatism in the GOP survey.
Oh,
Only
no.
20% of Gen Zers are LGBTQ compared to 4% of boomers. Quote, "It's over for white Christian male hegemony in the U.S., says trans academic. I encourage them to continue to believe this and to live in that reality because they will lose. From Christianity Today, in a story from last year, where boomer faith in God is low, Gen Z belief is up. Now, the reason why I said I could disprove that article is because conflicting sources exist. You can Google it all across the board, and they'll say Christianity is up, it's down, and they will choose the metrics they so desire to make that claim. And while it may be true that among most groups, Christianity is down, among Gen Z, it's up.
Good.
Donald
No,
Trump
bullshit.
has now three different polls showing he is winning the youth vote. It's so serious that Democrats, according to Vox, are panicking. Typically, I reserve the Democrats panic articles to, anti-woke and anti-Democrat YouTube channels. Democrats panic over this. But Vox, a liberal publication, is saying they're panicking over youth voters going to the Republican Party. But how can this be? Well, you need to understand that if you are LGBTQ, there's no guarantee that you're a leftist. There's a strong probability. I'd say the overwhelming majority of LGBTQ people are going to lean left. But you still have you have many gay people, for instance, who are voting for Donald Trump. So that doesn't really mean much these days. They're going to say,
okay,
a Public Religion Research Institute survey shows that Gen Zers who were born between 1997 and 2012 are the most racially, ethnically, and sexually diverse and progressive generation to date.
What was that at the end there, Tim?
Female trans influencer. So the survey showed that it's over for white Christian male hegemony in the United States. I do not believe that is correct. I believe it is actually quite incorrect. But of course, people who are biased want to claim they're winning. They're desperate
Tim
to
is now going to tell us why the whites still rule.
But I think when you take a look at the holistic picture, it's just propaganda.
Holistic. Crystals.
Time for an egalitarian and equitable society, she posted on Threads.
Summon the crystals,
unfortunately,
Tim.
egalitarian and equitable are that's an oxymoronic statement.
You're an
Egalitarian is more so
oxymoron.
people. Equitable means the forced leveling of the playing field, which would be detriment to people based on their natural merit or things like that. Equity is a bad thing.
Fucking moron.
I suppose equity in your house.
Merit, what are you talking
I'm
about?
fucking better than you.
This is a good thing. Social equity is a manipulation where they say, we got to cut off the tall grass. Understand this about forced equity. Equality is, I have a job. Anyone may apply. Equity is, because there are too many people who look like you, you can't apply for my job.
Why
I'll give
are
you a better
you gay?
example. In the leftist world, most of you probably know this, you have a college. And the college says, you know what? We've realized too many Asians are coming to the school. My response is,
Here we go.
I want you to look in the eyes
we can just
of
jump
that 7-year-old impoverished Asian
we don't
child
need to
of
hear
South
another
Chicago and
argument
say,
about
"You
how
don't-"
Asians are actually winning at college and why that's affirmative. It's not even affirmative action with college. What isn't it? Something else? Wasn't it called something else, or is it the same?
No, it was affirmative action.
Okay.
And it's illegal.
It is now.
Yeah.
Go to Harvard.
No, seriously, jump ahead.
Because you look at forced equity. Oh, it's not fair. Now, Gen Z members to believe in these aspects of the spiritual realm.
Spiritual realm, crystals.
We are seeing in many areas an increase in Christianity
We need a Marianne Williamson
How can
soundbite
it be possible?
anytime someone says something about
Hyperpolarization.
crystals.
The far left is dropping these values, and they are circling the wagon around their cult. And younger people are realizing the failures of the boomer generation, and they're changing their views.
In the U.S. by year. It's probably going to be going up just because population goes up, I'd assume.
Yeah, true. And people register their kids as Christians even though they're fucking children.
Okay, check this out.
Kids can't choose their genders, but they can choose to be religious because they understand that.
This is
logical.
White, married, and Christian by year. So Protestants going down. Oh, hang on. Hang on. Let me just pull up the whole thing real quick.
Great
See, boom. Protestantism down the toilet. See you later.
Great news. See you later. Goodbye.
I am not saying the boomers failed as a generation. I'm saying they had failures.
They did.
Every generation does. Gen Z, younger Gen Z people, saw what boomers did right and saw what they did wrong, and they said, we should correct for the wrong things.
Sure they did.
Now, of course, on the left.
So we can start killing the Protestants.
No, Michael, that's not
that's
what
it.
this is
Have a nice
about.
day. Sorry, not interested. People get mad at me, and they're like, Tim, when you say it's a cult, how are you actually going to... Dude, look, man. I know it's not. I know it's not. But let me tell you. Ben Shapiro debated Destiny. The Daily Wire just tweeted this out. Ben Shapiro defines wokeness, and he's like, we have to define it because a lot of people are accused of not defining it properly. And Ben is wrong.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
My
That's when
friends,
we'll stop streaming on Twitch because we can't
That
show it.
was one of the funniest timed things I've ever seen. You completely missed it, didn't you?
No, I heard. I just...
You see, the problem with a
I'm
lot of
fucking
conservatives and
dying.
politicos is that they live in this very esoteric realm. Ben Shapiro defines wokeness as a postmodernist, rooted in postmodernism, but it has changed and evolved to incorporate racial issues and things like this. Ben Shapiro's in
Hi, everybody. Actual
in
Nazi
a strict
here.
esoteric realm. A component of wokeness does include these things, but the average person does not say woke to mean postmodernist, critical race theory, gender theory, etc.
Tell us what they
Woke
say, Tim.
quite literally means adherence to the social orthodoxy of dominant institutions.
Hey, you know when Tim was
No, it doesn't.
like, you know when Tim was like, there are places where Christianity is growing? Okay, so it's called Latin America and Africa. Those are the places where Christianity is growing.
That's it?
Yeah, I mean, look, like Europe, North America, both declining. Asia too, right? That's where it's growing. All the countries that aren't white.
Cool.
I bet Tim's excited.
Very excited. So excited.
Hence, woke
At
people
mall,
also are
I held a
pro-war.
bake sale.
Now the Ukraine
A
flag is gone from their
racist
profiles.
bake sale.
Woke people are for some reason pro-Palestine. How could it be that pro-Palestine people, they're an oppressed people and they're also LGBT?
Also, it's pretty funny. He almost got the definition right. Almost. But it's opposition to the orthodoxy, you fucking dickhead. That's what woke is. Well, that's what it was anyway.
ETQ, but in Palestine, it's 10 years in prison if you're gay. Well, part of the postmodernist belief that Ben does nail, he gets this correct, is this view that power structures define everything. And I'm paraphrasing, but basically that if you are in power, you're likely the bad guy. That does not explain Ukraine at all.
Yes, it
doesn't
does.
explain why many of the same woke people were cheering for Ukraine. It doesn't explain why Hassan Piker was pro-Ukraine intervention. Why?
Oh, come on. That's
Because-
the guy, out of all the guys you pick the guy who is literally pro-Russia and still is pro-Russia and just pretends that he's pro-Ukraine just so he won't have to argue with his fans the whole time.
Amazing.
Oh my God. What a failure of a person.
Do you want to know why Hassan is pro-Russia? Pro-Russia, Tim? Do you want to know? Because he's a fucking China bootlicker, you idiot. Every single Chinese
Tim thinks Hassan
propagandist
is pro-Ukraine.
Because he's an idiot. No. He said pro-invasion.
No, Ukraine intervention is what he said. As in, because the rhetoric is that we're intervening in
everything.
Ukraine.
And I'm paraphrasing, but basically that if you are in power, you're likely the bad guy. That does not explain Ukraine at all. It doesn't explain why many of the same woke people were cheering for Ukraine. It doesn't explain why Hassan Piker was pro-Ukraine intervention.
Okay, I was wrong. Disregard.
Yeah.
Why? Now, you can make the argument that Russia is the dominant force and they invaded, but that doesn't really apply because no one really knew what was going on in
I found
Ukraine.
another awesome
They
graph.
blindly waved the flag with having no understanding at all of it. It also doesn't explain why definitions.
Explain to us, Tim. Explain
out.
Ukraine to us. I'm
Check
sure
it
you
out.
know more than us.
Catholics have stayed the same.
Huh.
Protestants have went down.
No religion up. Winning.
Mm-hmm.
And words change all the time. It's because the reality is, if the social, if the
Oh, here we go. Tim's going to tell us the reality of Ukraine because he knows more than we do, clearly.
dominant institutions say jump, woke says how high.
Uh-huh.
And thus, it changes quite a bit.
Sure it does.
Women with a Y is the correct term now, but then someone does
sure it is.
women with an X.
When does that
It just
happen?
changes from day to day.
I don't know what you're
seemingly for no
talking
reason.
about.
Regardless of who's in
Who
power.
watch?
And who's not.
No, seriously.
Whatever.
So who watches this stuff and like is like, yeah, I see that all the time.
It's because they specifically go out.
Bro, I'm
looking
gay
for
as fuck, and I don't know what you're talking about.
They literally go out looking for it. They'll Google search that term spelt that way and find places that use it. Just these obscure, tiny outlets that just this ultra woke, idiotic sort of micro blogs, and then they blow it up like it's something big. Exactly like the trans thing. It's the same mindset.
Ever benefits the dominant structure. So woke really is a component of.
Is it? Tell me.
A moralist.
Wow.
Institution in disarray.
Bigoted fucking
It is
losers.
a group of people. I'll describe it like this. It is a flock of birds flying around randomly in the sky. They occupy a certain territory where there are a certain kind of trees, but they're moving around seemingly randomly, just following each other. We have no idea what they're doing or where they're going or why they're doing it.
Bro,
That's
what is this shit? Are we talking about trees and shit now? Bro, reality.
What is it?
Just
Ladies
fucking
and gentlemen, we are all domestic
just
terrorists.
fucking stay in reality. We don't need fantasy tree or he's gonna fucking and the orcs come and the orcs believe in a specific type of economy, you see.
All right, he'll do that, don't worry.
It's just a large group of people.
He'll do it.
Running in circles. You know what it reminds me of? There's this thing you can
Tell
do
us,
with ants.
Tim.
So ants, when they walk, they leave pheromone trails,
Mm-hmm.
guiding other ants. Actually, let me pull this up. The ant circle of death.
Oh my god!
Please pull me up. Pull it up.
We're not doing this.
Endless circle of death, known as the ant mill.
It's known as the Timcast IRL podcast.
I'm fucking better than you.
How far? Look, he's already on a tangent about trees. Like he didn't finish his whole thing of trees. And then he's like, you know what? I'm gonna Google stuff about ants.
The editors were like, "We'll leave this in."
Okay, next.
Oh
my god.
Alrighty.
Really quick though, before we get into that other stuff, I have something here. All right. Yeah, it's gonna, my shit takes forever to load.
We do have some.
So I have this little thing. So this is our friend Rebel Kitty. They just started doing like independent news, right? They're like super small, and they're covering stuff that nobody else really does. Like a lot of like stuff about like northern Syria and executions in Iran and stuff like that. So, it's literally all news that you haven't heard anyone else reporting, and they're just starting out. So if everyone, here's the link in the chat. If everyone wants to go there and like leave a like on the video and put it on a playlist to watch later, that would be like cool. Okay.
Breaking news to report. Remember, we have been following this story
Could be
all
louder.
week out of Alabama, where this inmate was set to be executed tonight using a new and novel method, nitrogen gas. Well, this is what we know. You see a photo of the inmate right there. His name, Kenneth Smith. He was convicted of a 1988 murder for hire. He's a rare prisoner who has already survived one execution attempt. Back in November of 2022, Alabama officials aborted his execution by lethal injection after struggling for hours to insert an intravenous lines needle in his body. Well, under the new protocol, which was announced in a heavily redacted form back in September, officials
Heavily
will
redacted.
restrain Smith in a gurney and and strap a commercial
Wild.
industrial safety respirator mask to his
Wild.
face. A canister of pure nitrogen will be attached to the mask.
Dude, the fucking what's the place that runs it? The Department of what? Justice?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The DOJ is just like, fuck this guy.
Supreme Court ruled on it, bro.
Really?
Yes, it was literally approved by the Supreme Court to do this.
Oh my god.
The process intended to deprive him of inhaling oxygen. Now, there have been many stays involved in this case, and including an 11th hour one as well that has just been denied by our top court, the Supreme Court, here as well. We are learning right now, according to Shannon Bream there in Washington, SCOTUS will not stop the nitrogen gas execution set for tonight in Alabama. 3 justices dissented in the case. Justices Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, and Ketanji Brown
I have more
Jackson
stories
were
on this
the
too.
3 dissenting justices. I want to put this tweet up here from Charles Geidner. He is with the Law Dork blog, and he has a screenshot of the ruling that literally just came down saying the Supreme Court will not stop Alabama from trying to execute Kenneth Eugene Smith by nitrogen gas. And you see there the decision was over the dissents of the 3 liberal justices, Sotomayor, Kagan, and Brown Jackson as well. You also see from Josh Gaunt there at WBRC, SCOTUS denying Kenneth Smith's stay of execution request. And another photo of the white van carrying media witnesses that will go to Holman Prison to witness this execution, the first to use nitrogen gas. Alabama has called it the most painless and humane method of execution known to man, and says that Smith should lose consciousness within a minute or two and die soon after. Remember, this will be now the second attempt to...
How'd that go?
Well, I mean, in the other clips I have, they literally talk to a witness who's, because you have to have witnesses for...
Yeah. Any credible news story?
No. To be executed, there needs to be a group of witnesses there that watch you.
Okay. Yeah, right. I am looking for the other ones. You sent a lot.
Yeah, I can find it in here. If you don't find it. I think it's Democracy Now! They saved it.
I didn't say a Democracy Now! One. There's no Democracy Now! Here.
To execute Smith after that botched one back in November of 2022. And so opponents of capital punishment, including the UN human rights experts, have said the method amounts to experimenting on humans and can merely injure him without killing him or lead to a tortuous death there. Let's go back to his mugshot you see right there, as we have to now wait to see when this execution will happen. Just today, Smith had asked the U.S. Supreme Court
so wild that
to
there's
halt
still
the
executions in
so
America.
that justices can consider an appeal. It was challenging a decision by the 11th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals. And so now we finally have an...
Outraged a lot of people. The guy, like, he caused a fire or something that killed like 50 people.
Okay.
Something like that.
And they put him to death.
Yeah, they and Japan hangs them. I mean, they hung the Shinriko people too. I mean, just like if there is like that type of terrorism too, like using nerve agent, like you know,
kind of have to, yeah.
I'm not saying you have to. I'm just like if there is a crime.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty severe.
Answer in this as well that SCOTUS will not stop the nitrogen gas execution set for tonight in Alabama. Remember, this 11th hour stay was somewhat of an intervening factor because the execution was scheduled for last hour at the top of the hour. So now we are an hour delayed from this execution, and the Supreme Court giving the green light, not stopping this controversial...
Hey, look, here's another one.
Let's get back to the big breaking news we brought you in the last hour. State of Alabama has executed its first prisoner with nitrogen gas. Kenneth Smith was put to death at 8:25 p.m. local time there for the 1988 death of Elizabeth Sennett. This execution marks the first time in the U.S. that the controversial method of nitrogen hypoxia was used. Josh Gaunt from our Fox affiliate in Birmingham, WBRC, he is joining us live now down there.
Of course, it was
Alabama.
fucking Alabama, right? Like only Alabama, right?
Check out the headline on this one I just sent. Stay on this one though. Like you got like, the witness shit was very disturbing.
Ah, great. I'll log this one.
Yeah, good evening. As you mentioned about an hour ago, Kenneth Smith was pronounced dead by the state of Alabama, as we mentioned,
Oh, it worked.
by using nitrogen hypoxia, the first death row inmate
Great.
here in the country to be
Awesome.
executed using this method. According to Corrections Commissioner John
Congratulations,
Hamm, who spoke to the media just a short time ago,
DOJ.
he said there wasn't anything out of the ordinary.
You gassed someone to
that
death.
happened here, and he said
Cool.
it took place in his estimation. This execution took place in his estimation according to plan, but he did say that Smith appeared to be holding his breath at the beginning when they started this
You don't
execution.
say.
According to the 5 media witnesses who saw this, they say it appeared Kenneth Smith was conscious for several minutes into this execution. They say he shook and writhed on the gurney, then eventually took several deep breaths before his breathing started to slow down. As we mentioned, he was pronounced dead a short time later by the state of Alabama at 8:25 Central Time here in Atmore at Holman Correctional Facility. Attorney General for the state of Alabama, Steve Marshall, says this execution proved to be an effective and humane method of execution. Shortly after the Corrections Commissioner spoke to members of the media, we heard from Elizabeth Sennett's family.
Okay, we heard that. Now we've heard that. We can go to this one.
Let me start by saying what you've heard me say many times before. And that is that I can hardly call this execution justice for the Sennett family. And it's because it took over 3.5 decades for the sentence to be carried out. I want to tell the family, especially the victim's sons, Mike.
How is 3.5 decades of nitrogen gas effective?
You know, because it takes forever to do these executions. They keep people on death row forever.
Yeah, forever, yeah. Wonder what his last meal was. It's always curious.
Nitrogen.
How genuinely sorry I am for the horrific manner in which their mother lost her life. But I also want to apologize to them for how long it took for this sentence to be carried out. I hope the family has taken some comfort in the events of last night in knowing that there were men and women in this office who did not back away.
Yeah, I bet it really
to do so, and other
really
states may have done the same thing.
You know, I bet it really helps knowing that someone's dead and it can't bring their parent back at all. I'm sure it's really great and helps. And eye for an eye, you know, heavily Christian fucking state, but eye for an eye, right? You fucking idiots.
Also, like it's the fact that he was just like an assassin.
Yeah, the gun for hire. Yeah,
it's Alabama. Oh, updates on the Mississippi mass grave. No. We'll see.
But instead, they continued to fight. Our capital litigators have handled this case for more than 30 plus years. They could have followed the path of other states and gone the path of least resistance, and that would have been easier. But yet, I can't think of a better.
Oh, you mean like coming into the modern fucking century and abolishing the death penalty? You fucking savages! What the fuck are you think? What are you talking about? Shut the fuck up.
Group of lawyers to be able to handle this case. To Commissioner John Hamm and his dedicated team at the Alabama Department of Corrections. Everyone in this room knows they are the first team in the country to carry out nitrogen execution. And what occurred last night was textbook. They deserve a great deal of thanks and credit for being willing to be the one to step up first in the country to do so.
These people are literally monsters, you know?
Yeah.
Like the fucking, like some of the, like especially now, the GOP is like insane.
Pieces of shit.
Will follow. As of last
So what'd you say about fascists? Lots of flags?
Yeah. How many flags?
Right? Nitrogen epoxy as a means of execution is no longer an untested method. It is a proven one.
Yeah, we tested it on humans. It's tested now.
That Kenny Smith ultimately chose, along with now 43 other death row inmates in our state.
Nice.
And thanks to the Fair Justice
You know about
Act,
the U.S. Army, or it was the CIA actually fucking hit, like it's, you know, like the MK Ultra stuff.
Yeah.
It's one of those like type experiments, one of their secret ones. And they fucking put sarin on people.
No shit.
They were measuring how much it takes to kill people. And so there's people who survived near lethal doses of sarin out there.
Insane.
And you can like, they have like, I have videos of them being interviewed talking about what it felt like and stuff. And they don't tell them. They didn't tell them either what was happening.
Oh my God. Awesome. You know what I watched the other day? I watched a video on the Kim Jong-un's brother's assassination.
Oh, there's a documentary. Have you seen the documentary?
So interesting. No, I haven't.
So the the girls are innocent, right?
Yeah, because they had no idea. They thought it was a prank.
Well,
they conditioned them.
That's
Or
it. So
groomed them,
there's
right?
the entire documentary is called Assassins or something, and it's about the case and how they came to the conclusion and the building of evidence to prove the girl's innocence and stuff.
Interesting.
Very interesting documentary.
I bet it would be a very interesting documentary because it's a very interesting thing to try and adjudicate. Because
and I think they were up for execution too.
Crazy.
Like they would be executed by the state. I mean, it was Malaysia, so
true.
Passed during our first year in office, we are finally starting to see these cases move faster. It is my hope that one day
we can gas the whole state.
That the Alabama Attorney General won't have to stand up here and talk about
I'm
how many
fucking better
decades
than you.
some families had to wait before justice was served. To my colleagues across the country, many of which were watching
also, I
last
believe
night,
the Attorney General is not voted for. It's not an elected position. It's chosen.
Yeah, I think so.
So literally, not even democratically elected dude up here defending this shit. Like they really didn't account for that he was just they thought he was just going to cooperate and breathe in the gas deeply.
Yeah.
You
fucking
and we stand ready to assist you in implementing this method in your states.
Stop resisting. It would go quick. It would die quicker if you stopped resisting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, stop resisting. We won't have to empty our magazine of bullets into you. Yeah, cool.
We filed, but in fact was entirely consistent, not only with what we filed, but also the experts that were retained on behalf of Mr.
They're
Smith.
cooking them.
As you heard earlier, there's no specific time that we can identify.
Not this time.
For which the nitrogen began to flow. And so identifying that time, no one can do. But we believe that not only was this constitutionally carried out, but entirely consistent with how it was planned from the beginning. We did not provide justice for this family. Applied with the Constitution in the carrying out of this process.
You know what I'm saying?
Mr. Smith was given due process through the courts to be able to have his arguments heard. We prevailed, and justice occurred for that family last night. And the one thing that we cannot lose sight.
The family came out and said it wasn't justice.
Did they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I saw that in the headline somewhere.
Majority of the questions that we
they said that they're not celebrating the death of this man or something like that.
Better today, it dealt with Mr. Smith. We cannot lose sight of the fact that a woman was brutally murdered.
Poggers!
Taken from her family. And that's the reason why the state of Alabama had to act last night.
It did not even play.
Let's remember her legacy and her life.
That barely even played for me. It just went back.
As much as we remember the person who took her away from us.
Is that epic? That's epic. No, we can move
Another
on
one.
to this. Let's move on to this.
Look, this one's a bad side of it. This is a morning show talking about a British morning show. We can make fun of the British.
Hit play and then pull up the next thing. Though.
Overnight, a death row inmate has been put to death. Kenneth Smith, a convicted murderer, has become the first person in America to be executed with
The
nitrogen
first
gas.
person.
It's a method that many human rights groups have branded as barbaric. Lawyer and political commentator Eric Gustert joins us now from Alabama. Good morning to you. So
That's
this has
it,
all
Buster.
happened
No
in
more
the last few
military
hours
aid.
then. What has been the reaction? Because this has been hugely controversial, hasn't it? And it's the first time in the world that someone
What?
She's like dressed like a fucking bird.
has been put to death using this method.
Yes, this was definitely an experimental method, and it's been on two extremes. You have the people who are saying he stabbed a lady to death for $1,000, so he should die barbarically, and then those of us who feel that it should be a humane way of executing someone if an execution took place. This was an experimental thing. It took 22 minutes for him to die, which is a very
Jesus
long time. And
Christ.
actually, this is the second time that the state of Alabama tried to.
Imagine 22 minutes of suffocating misery. It'd be like listening to a Hassan video.
Execute him because the
Bro,
first time
Evo
they
would live if they tried to do this to him.
couldn't find the.
He's like, next challenge, 22 minutes of nitrogen gas.
Yeah, I mean that's basically what he used to. That's what he was fucking addicted to, man.
Veins for the needle to try to execute him. So it's been a cluster from the beginning, and they finally called it out.
So I mean, interestingly, they were trying to do it via lethal injection, weren't they? 2 years ago, they couldn't get a vein, so they couldn't put the needle into the arm. So then he has 2 more years before they come up with this brand new method. I think one of the things I was intrigued by was even in
Destroy the
sentencing,
United States of America,
the jury
for
said
God's
we don't
sake.
believe he should face the death penalty, and yet it was the judge who ignored their request. Is that right?
Yeah, because judges are fucking cops. ACAB includes judges.
You ever hear what a kiwi bird sounds like?
Yes.
Fucked.
Hilarious. Cassowaries are cool too.
Cassowaries, fuck off, cassowaries.
Fucking raptors.
That is right. In Alabama, the jury can recommend a
Next,
sentence,
though.
and a
Pull up the
judge
next thing.
could over.
Keep playing, but pull up the next thing.
It's I've already got it.
Oh, okay. Saul Goodman is a criminal,
We've
not a
talked at
lawyer.
length about the two-tier justice system. We've discussed.
What?
Also, lawyers are fine. It's the attorneys, the attorney general fuckers.
Yeah, and state prosecutors.
Yeah,
Fuck
the
them.
prosecutors and shit.
But that's because prosecutors are always cops. So yeah.
I don't think they're necessary.
Mm. Also, I've been working on it. I've been finding the ones that work the best. So I apologize for any weird sound bites.
I love our fucked up gremlin icon.
Discussed the federal government's denial of due process rights for Trump supporters. We've discussed their heavy-handed prosecution of conservatives who were never even at the Capitol on January 6th, all while years of BLM.
What is Newsmax?
Might as well call him President Abbott.
Yeah, no, I was like, what is their background is just fucking shitty. That's all. That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
Like, look at the
why
cutout.
Newsmax-
Look at the cutout on him. You can see fucking green under his ears and shit. Literally, like
Riots,
YouTubers
looting,
have
burning.
better fucking.
Yeah.
And violence go unpunished. We've discussed how the IRS looks the other way when Democrats or Democrat-enabling Republicans break the law,
Wow.
only to weaponize the
Tell
IRS
us
code
more.
against America First patriots.
Wow.
You all know
Patriots.
how from California to New York,
Those monitors
left-wing
are
factions
fake.
can openly violate.
Yeah, those monitors behind you are fake. You're supposed to be
US
showing where you're
immigration law.
broadcasting from if you're going to put monitors behind you, not just like random moving graphics so people stay entertained because you're jingling keys.
Yeah.
with no penalty. But
It's like
states-
it's like posting those shorts with a video game clip underneath because people can't have an attention span. longer
Oh
than
yeah.
3 seconds. Go surfing.
and areas that do not accept law breaking are prosecuted and harassed. The governor of Texas has succinctly and powerfully defined what all of this means. We might as well call him President Abbott. That's a reality check we provide in today's preamble. The number one
reality
job
check.
of the President of the United States is to protect our people. But Joe Biden, under the direction of Barack Obama and his minions, has become the second occupier of the Oval Office to abdicate that duty. I can point to the deadly consequences of his foreign policy,
Did you hear that
the
he
deadly
invoked
consequences
Barack
of the
Obama?
Democrats' pro-criminal policies.
They still can't get over it.
Obama.
Yeah, go back. He invoked Obama.
Oh, I heard him.
Call him
Somehow it's
President
always
Abbott.
Obama's fault
That's a
with all
reality
this shit
check
too. It's so funny.
we provide in today's preamble. The number one job of the President of the United
Well, he built those cages that Trump loves so much.
States is to protect our people. But Joe Biden, under the direction of Barack Obama and his minions, has become the second
And his
occupier of the
minions.
Oval Office to abdicate that duty. I
Occupier,
can point to the
nice.
deadly consequences of his foreign policy,
Deadly.
the deadly
There
consequences
is
of the
a
Democrats'
not the
pro-criminal
best
policies.
an oversight committee on the border that's also very interesting. It's
What about
related
it?
to this.
Oh, you have something.
No, I sent it to you. So
Oh.
I'm just saying that's
An
another
example I can show you is the border and the Biden regime's
that the
promotion
Forbes one?
of massive, record-breaking, deadly illegal immigration. And Texas Governor Greg Abbott clearly defined the affliction we all suffer in a statement that he released yesterday. The governor said, quote,
This guy's such a twat.
Oh, the kiwi is the gremlin icon.
federal government has broken the compact between the United States and the states. The executive branch of the United States has a constitutional duty to enforce federal laws protecting
right,
states,
New Zealand,
including immigration laws on the books right now. President Biden has refused to enforce those laws and has even violated them. The result is that he has smashed records for illegal
Again, a
immigration.
month ago, the excuse was Biden isn't letting us use border patrol. Like
Funny how quickly it changes.
now it's
huh?
fuck off border patrol. Okay, buddy.
Joe Biden and the Democrat Party and their apparatchiks in the Leviathan we
Oh
call
my
a
God.
federal government.
He's talking
have, quote,
like he's
broken
fucking
the
talking like a
compact
communist now.
Yeah.
between the United States and the states. That compact is the Constitution, our mutual handshake as citizens, an oath that the left wing has been trying.
Biden's such a goofball.
Bro, so the United Auto Workers Union, right? He the guy who runs the union, he endorsed Biden and called Trump a scab.
Nice. That's sick.
Trying to break for decades, since the last time they broke it during the Civil War. Joe Biden and Obama's minions have a solemn duty to protect our people from harm, yet they have allowed millions of illegal
Joe
foreign
Biden
nationals
and
to
Obama's minions. Bro, they literally can't get over the black president. It's so funny.
It's hilarious.
168 countries, many with criminal and terrorist records, to flow into our country unvetted. From the very beginning, humanitarian and Texas law enforcement groups have informed us how Joe Biden and the Democrats' policies have led to a massive spike in illegal alien deaths. In his first year in office, those deaths shot up 24%.
Was that Biden or was that Texas?
Now the deaths are being blamed on.
It's Biden's fault, of course. It's not Texas.
I did everything right, and they indicted me.
And it's only gotten worse. Just as all life in America has only gotten worse under Democrat rule. At the height of the China virus pandemic, Joe Biden and his Democrats released illegal aliens into Texas who were infected with a highly contagious and life-threatening disease. Most of the compromised press, in an effort to cover up the Democrat treachery, has stopped reporting the infected numbers of illegal aliens. They say
like the only people that watch this have to be Trump spazzes, right? Like just simple Trump people.
Like this is like 50% of the country pretty much thinks like this.
Insane.
Illegal aliens have a right to privately place American citizens' health at risk.
What
the
the
Democrats
fuck
and
is
the
that
Biden
voice?
regime agree. Those in the Border Patrol who swore an oath to protect our nation, who, unlike Democrats, want to keep that oath, have been sounding the alarm about the biggest crisis.
I'll give him this.
The people that are now being blocked from doing their job, the Border Patrol, bro.
I'll give him this. With 2 million subscribers, it's like a third of the Young Turks. Their graphic work is way better
than the Young Turks.
Yeah.
He's better than Anna, bro. He has put definitely way more work in.
Yeah, true.
Like he's definitely like read and rehearsed. Like he has the emphasis in the right place when he's like left him in Texas.
Yeah. Anna downs a coffee before she goes on set after she just rocked up. She's barely done her hair.
Of all the
What are we
national
doing
security
now?
crisis. Millions of unvetted illegal aliens
is
have
it
been
today?
allowed to break into America. Terrorist encounters at the border have skyrocketed under Joe Biden's Marxist regime. But the threat is beyond your run of the.
Oh my God.
Socialism is when the government does stuff.
So much.
Holy shit. Insane.
Poggers! America's enemies like China, Mother Russia, and Iran, just to name a few, have undoubtedly taken advantage of the Democrats' fondness for filthy communists. Indeed, we don't know how many foreign military, terrorists, narco-terrorists, or bloodthirsty gangs have gained access to our nation.
All the time.
And narco-terrorists.
This is like fucking
كيف
Michael Young World's
حضرتك
Instagram.
جاوبها لك لازمكم.
Why are you gay?
Courtesy of lawless Democrats. But we see the results. Illegal aliens committed 1,178 assaults.
Grimace is now a gay icon.
Alone, which
breaking the law here.
Represented a more than 400% increase from 2020.
This week,
Homicide
I
or
authorized to
manslaughter
deploy
convictions,
armed drones
attributed
over
to
U.S. soil,
illegal
and the
aliens
deaths
also
of 3 other
skyrocketed by
Americans in
There's
1,900%.
like honestly, just like take a minute, Heritage Foundation cringe. Take a minute to like analyze the situation, right? What do you think the National Guard is trained for?
National Guarding?
And that, you know, like they're not trained to be like apprehending terrorists and locating terrorists and drug mules and shit like that. That's not their role. What do you think fucking Homeland Security is trained for?
Yeah, literally
Like,
that.
you're so stupid.
It's only gotten worse. Joe Biden and his lawless regime is using a Supreme Court decision against Arizona, the fight about SB 1070, as a predicate for doing all of this to us. Bush appointee John Roberts sided with leftists on the court, handing down a decision that left-wing extremists are using to allege the executive branch has the authority to no longer adhere to laws passed by Congress.
Crazy.
Governor Abbott addressed this too. Quote, President Biden has violated his oath to faithfully execute immigration laws enacted by Congress. Instead of prosecuting immigrants for the federal crime of illegal entry, President Biden has sent his lawyers and federal courts to suit Texas for taking action to secure the border. President Biden has instructed his agencies to ignore federal statutes that mandate the detention of illegal immigrants. The effect is to allow,
also, like,
illegally allow.
There's literally like no argument to be had. The Constitution is very clear about like
you have to protect people.
Anything that they say, like the whole thing where they're like secession is legal. No, it's not. The Constitution specifically says it's not.
En masse parole into the United States, end quote. While Abbott declares Joe Biden in violation of the Constitution, Mitch McConnell and other alleged Republicans are conspiring with Democrats to make sure this nation is burdened with massive illegal immigration, whether our people want it or not.
This is all
McConnell
important.
is quite
This is all important. McConnell, this is a super important part to the story. We'll get to all of this.
Man.
They're literally so I'm not sure how much we've talked about it, but if you watch other people, you should be aware that there's like a civil war going on inside the Republican Party. That's where the civil war is right now, right?
Yeah.
And so we'll get to it because there was decisions made and stuff like that. They voted on stuff about the border in the Senate, and like there was some last minute like grenades thrown in. It's very
for his border bill before we the people even see it. Multiple media reports say the secret amnesty bill is largely complete.
Why is
the
it
Biden
mad,
regime
bro?
wants roughly $15 billion of your taxpayer dollars to transport, feed, house.
What do you think, the
and hide
lizard
illegal
people are in
aliens
charge?
from the public's
What do you
prying
think?
eyes? Old Glitch McConnell and any Republican who supports this deal, as reported, are complicit with the betrayal of our people, as articulated by Governor Abbott. So knowing he faces a corrupt Democrat and GOP cabal in Washington, Governor Greg Abbott reminded the rest of the country of the true nature of our Constitution. Quote,
this dude literally
failure of
talks
the
like
Biden
a
administration
communist, bro.
Yeah, he does.
to fulfill the duties imposed by Article 4, Section 4 has
He's just fascist to
Head to
king.
barbarism if the left wins.
Oh my
you
God.
will live in barbarism, period. It is a fight for civilization.
Whoa.
triggered Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3, which reserves this state the right of self-defense. For these reasons, I have declared an invasion under Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3.
Three people drowning in a river? Like, what are you defending against? You're blocking a boat ramp, dog.
Yeah.
It's literally, that's all they're saying. It's like, hey, can you please move your car? You're blocking the fire lane.
Yeah.
You know, that's literally the equivalent to what's going on here. And
It's
people
pathetic.
think that this is going to fucking cause a civil war. Blocking a boat ramp. Can you imagine? That would have to be one of the dumbest civil wars ever.
Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? It's like, oh, how'd that one start? Boat ramp? What do you mean? Texas was blocking a boat ramp? There has to be more to it, right? No.
Nope.
Nope. Nothing
Nope.
more.
That's all it was.
Texas let some migrants die and block the federal government. The government wants through because the border is their
federal government
jurisdiction.
can't control the river in that area because they need the ramps for like logistic. Right?
Yeah.
So because they don't have the boat ramp there, they don't have the logistics to patrol that area. So the reason why those people drowned is because there wasn't patrol boats
Yeah,
going through the
exactly.
area.
Yeah.
So that's what they're defending against.
Texas's
You are
constitutional
garbage. Okay, if you get a
authority to defend and protect itself. The authority is the
What?
supreme law of the land and supersedes any federal statute.
Get angry, bro. Get angry.
The Texas
Makes you more
National Guard,
effective.
The Texas Department of Public Safety and other
Yeah,
Texas
Alex
personnel
Jones.
are acting on that authority as well as state law
Wow.
to secure the Texas border.
Crazy.
End quote.
It's
Did you hear that, Mitch McConnell?
It's the American border. You
Mitch McConnell
fucking
didn't care. He
moron.
doesn't care about you. Mitch McConnell doesn't give a fuck about you, bro. We're probably the first people to watch you and actually be a serious person.
Hey, dickhead. The southern border is the American southern border.
Can you imagine, bro, if like
Not
each state
Texas.
started making up their own like immigration laws?
Yeah. Would be nuts.
The states are rising up to oppose you and your buddy Joe. Any law you try to
My
cram
mom
down our
says the
throats
same
is
shit, bro.
negated by the Supreme.
She literally
Look
says
at-
the same shit about how Mitch McConnell is like a traitor to the GOP because he talks to Joe Biden. And I'm like trying to explain to her the basic functions of government that they teach you in like social studies in 8th grade.
Yeah. This guy is so fake mad. It's funny. Like as soon
No,
as
I
the
think
camera
he's
cuts,
just that racist. So he's channeling his racism.
maybe.
Law of the land. The
I don't know. I reckon as soon as the camera cuts, he's like, "Good job, everybody. Well done." Let's go to the
Because
next
like
one.
Bill O'Reilly acts nicer than he actually is.
U.S. Constitution. In other words, like a real president, Governor Abbott is citing the power and authority vested in him by the U.S. Constitution, while the Biden McConnell cabal seeks to subvert that Constitution in service to their dark political agenda. Or perhaps it's China's dark political agenda. Who can be sure?
Uh-oh. Now China's coming.
I love the movie Kung Fu Panda. Bigoted fucking losers.
David, I mean, I know you're a sophisticated guy. The world is a mess. The world is as angry as it gets. Well, you think this is going to cause a little more anger? The world is an angry place.
Poor Trump. Going to be in jail soon.
Pain. And he's kept.
Is this the one?
Yeah. Rewind it. This is wild. So this is from an oversight committee.
I started my
career
in immigration enforcement in 1984 as a border patrol agent. I've worked for 6 presidents.
Could be louder.
Trump. Every president I've ever worked for took some steps to secure the border because they understood you can't have strong national security if you don't have border security. But President Biden is the first president in history of this nation that I know of who came in office and unsecured the border on purpose. And even President Obama.
Funny? You know what he's literally trying to mislead people on? Like people inside this room. It's an oversight committee. Who are you misleading on the expiration of Title 42 here?
Yeah, because they should all know, right?
Are you trying to mislead, bro?
Yeah. Surely they call him out on it, right?
I don't know.
Because what was I doing at the time? I was locating and deporting people in the country illegally.
Wow.
So we went for the most secure border of my lifetime.
Dude.
And it's not just my opinion. I've done this for 34 years. Anybody can go to cbp.gov, look at the data. We handed this administration the most secure border in my lifetime. And within months, we went from the most secure border to historic illegal immigration. Numbers we've never seen before. It's not because it's seasonal. It's not because of climate change. It's not because of Trump. This is.
You'll list all the. It's not because of this. Won't say it's not because of COVID though. Weird, bro.
By design.
It is by design.
We already heard about some of these people are coming because
they literally by design. And he said it's not because of Trump. That's wrong because Trump is the one who put it in place. Title 42. Get the fuck out of here. Also, it's like the fucking GOP fucking Senate and them voted down all the solutions Biden presented for Title. So they literally let Title 42 expire with nothing there. That way it would have a historic flood of immigration and they could use this as their fucking attack weapons during
exactly. And what have they been doing for 6 months? Exactly that. Oh, border crisis, the border crisis, it's a border crisis. It's exactly what they've done. They've weaponized it.
Economic reason or natural disasters. The bottom line is when you claim asylum, you must be escaping fear and persecution from your home government because your race, religion, political affiliation, or membership in a particular social group. That is not.
What's that?
Civilians were killed, and that's what we're going to continue to try to do.
Not the fact.
Wow.
If you look at immigration court.
You served under Obama, right?
Everything
over the last 10 years, you'll see that nearly 9 out of 10 people.
Everything this guy says is insane. And also keep in mind, a lot of times you don't replace people because that takes so much effort. So if they're hired under some admin, you'll have them under yours. And it really doesn't matter what their political affiliation is.
Yeah. It's like the staffers. The staffers all have their political allegiances, but they all are the incestuous ones that don't leave, where the actual representatives are the ones that are getting courted around and fucking puppeted by the staffers, really.
Well, especially really Dianne Feinstein.
Yeah.
People claim asylum at the border.
That's what people really need to understand. Is it's more the staffers, not the politicians.
I try to explain this to my mom as well.
Like the politicians are just stupid. All the staffers are young, ideological, motivated. All the politicians are just in it for money.
But if that person gets voted out, their staffers go too.
Yeah, but they get rehired. They can.
Not all of them do.
No, but they have experience, right? Unless you're, of course, have swastika tattoos and fucking Nazi memorabilia, then maybe you won't get recalled.
A lot of them. So a lot of this. There's a lot more money running people's election campaigns. So a lot of staffers who lose a position then go to run someone's election campaign.
Mm-hmm.
If New York's court says if you don't qualify, but they're coming and staying because of Biden's promises. I wrote an op-ed 6 months before the election. I said President Biden becomes president, we'll lose the border based on the promises he was making during the campaign, and he's kept those promises.
Hi, everybody. Actual
right now,
Nazi
we have record
here.
numbers of illegal aliens coming across the border.
Uh-huh.
Catch and release is rampant. Right now, Secretary Mayorkas already said 85% of everybody coming.
It's a record low. 2024 is so low. Why?
So far,
because of the fucking Mexican government, right? And this is what the snakes aren't going to fucking tell you, that we're literally working with the Mexican government now.
And it should have been the way that was
done even arriving to the border, let alone being let through.
Yeah.
The border is being released in the country. They're not being detained. And why are they being detained? Because of two reasons. Number one, because he knows, like I do, that vast majority of these people will be ordered removed 5, 6, 7 years down the road, maybe 10. He also knows that Homeland Security life cycle report says if you get an order removal and you're in an ice bed, you get removed 99% of the time. But if you're not in detention, your chances of being removed are slim. If you're family unit, it's about 6%. That's why they're releasing them. Thousands of empty ice beds sitting there right now, already paid for by the taxpayer.
Wow.
They'd rather release them because they know.
You know what you should do with that ICE facility? Sell it. All of the stuff inside it, sell it. That's what you should do. It's empty.
My resolution? Airstrikes. Bomb them. Bomb them. Keep bombing them. Bomb them again and again.
That works too.
Vast majority will lose their case and they'll be ordered removed. But if they're not in detention, they won't be removed. So this administration comes up with what they call lawful pathways, which I think are illegal, and I think they'll lose when the decision of the courts come out. The CBP-1 app, 95.8% are approved. Where's the case-by-case analysis that's supposed to be done for people for a parole?
It's almost like the people
it's a shell game. They move people. They move
non-legal ports of entry, don't have work permits, and actually are fleeing asylum from like other countries and shit.
Yeah, crazy.
It's
right?
almost like Mexico is only like 50% of what comes over the asylum border.
Yeah,
if we're not talking about legal ports of entry.
Pretty insane.
It's all other countries.
Thousands to the port of entry, so they can claim less illegal entries between the port of entries, but it's failed because November, December, we saw record amounts of crossings on the border, over 300,000.
When was that?
In December.
Yeah. What happened there?
And people who say that the border is not in crisis, I tell you this: in 2020, the total encounters on the southwest border is 646,000.
Oh my God!
This year, 3.2 million, 5 times what we saw during last year's administration. Court orders are years out, but this administration's counting on it.
And you got a lot of them. I love dogs. You love dogs.
Back 7, 8 years. And what's going to happen? Mark my word. When they finally get order removal 7 years down the road,
my word,
they'll have
It's
USC
so
trial.
funny. It's like the people you're talking to don't know what Title 42 is and was.
You know, the director of ICE will get phone calls from the Hill saying, "Why'd you remove that person with 2 USC kids?"
Wow.
Well, he didn't have 2 USC kids when he entered the country legally. So now that he has 2 USC kids, he's immune from law. The court order means nothing. So here's what I'm looking for. If for people who demand these people have a right to claim asylum, they have a right to due process. I agree.
No,
but
you
due
don't.
process doesn't mean anything if the final decision of the courts is not executed and people aren't removed. So if it takes 5 or 6 years, they still must be removed.
Why?
Or the system means nothing.
That means nothing.
I've been attacked numerous times because I worked for President Trump. They said our policy is inhumane.
Wow.
I've been called a racist and a bigot by members of Congress.
You probably are.
But let's get one thing straight. Under President Trump, immigration was a 40, 45-year low, 83%.
Damn, I missed an opportunity. Let's go back.
Decline. Get one thing straight. Under President Trump, illegal immigration went to a 40, 45-year low, 83% decline in illegal immigration. There's been several studies saying 31% of women that make that journey through cartels get sexually assaulted. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Okay. What was
make
that?
a point. When 83% less people are coming, how many migrants didn't die crossing the border? When 83% less were coming, how many people didn't?
How many of them died in their own country because they couldn't come because of inhumane policies?
This whole like death statistic shit that they do to pretend that they care is so funny.
Yeah.
Die. How many people on the terrorist screening database didn't try to come to the country because Border Patrol's 100% vigilant on the line and now overwhelmed? How many women and children didn't get sex trafficked?
It's literally the same thing as these anti-gun groups talking about gun death statistics using wrong statistics because they don't actually care about the number. They care about, they don't care about the people. They care about the number. It's the same thing. They're just using it to justify whatever the fuck their purpose is.
Africans in the United States, forced into sex slavery, forced labor, debt bondage. How many billions of criminal cartels not made? Under President Biden, where they call this humane, over 1,700 migrants have died on U.S. soil. Historic record, not counting the Darien Gap in Mexico and Central America. 112,000 Americans died from fentanyl. Historical increase in sex trafficking, forced labor, and debt bondage. Almost 100,000 missing kids that were released by ORR. 440,000 unaccompanied children.
Who caused that?
Someone just made
caused all the children to go missing.
And a record number of people off the terrorist watch list being.
I don't know who wrote that.
I mean, it's Child Separation Act, bro.
Was it Trump?
Yeah, but it's not like
9
million. It just happens on the other side of the border.
Yeah,
gotaways. That state alone.
Until recently, the children had to defend themselves in court.
Seriously?
Yes. Because they're not U.S. citizens, they're not entitled to an attorney.
That's insane.
They're trying the kids and bring the kids to court themselves. And then it's like a 3-year-old being asked fucking questions by the judge.
That's awesome.
Right?
That's so great.
Just changed.
Only just, huh?
Anybody on either side. 1.9 million gotaways. The border is not secure.
Wow.
It's ridiculous to claim so.
That's like they're splitting up the trial, so that's how you get the splitting them up in custody and shit.
Yeah. We watched this already.
Yes, we did.
Welcome to Rob Schmidt tonight. A government can only inflict so much pain on its people before they inevitably start to fight back. And tonight, there is a conflict brewing in South Texas between the Lone Star State, run by enraged patriots, and the Biden White House, run by...
They love this fucking patriots word, don't they?
Yeah, they don't even know what it means.
Holy shit.
Ideological zealots working to sow as much chaos as possible so they can radically alter our country.
Not you, though.
As Biden has decimated our national security and our sovereignty by corrupting our asylum laws, Texas is pushing back, setting up its own defense. Last week, the Supreme Court sided with the Biden regime in a shock decision that we hope was made out of concern for precedent and not this specific case. But as it stands, right now we have the state of Texas blocking Border Patrol from pulling in migrants at Eagle Pass, and we have Border Patrol ripping down Texas's own barriers as the state tries to protect itself because the federal government has disappeared from doing one of the most important jobs that it has.
What?
And Border Patrol is doing this, of course.
You're blocking the ramp.
Biden and Mayorkas, some very good people working under some very, very bad people. And in this moment, here is the governor of Texas.
Oh boy, here we go.
Texas has the constitutional authority to do exactly what we're doing because the authors of the Constitution, they knew there would be times when the federal government does not do its job. And states have a right of self-defense. And that right of self-defense is established in Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution. And Texas is relying upon the authority written into the Constitution for us to be able to secure our border and enact self-defense.
It's honestly amazing this is all happening right now. It's amazing that the federal government has just disappeared. The Supreme Court's decision doesn't prevent Texas from installing the wire, but it allows the federal government to remove it, a decision that furthers the conflict between Texas and the federal government. Today, 25 red state governors announced their support for Texas. And right there, you see a visual of the divide that we have in this country, a country that is divided in so many ways. This as two Democrats from Texas, along with House husband Beto O'Rourke, asked the Biden regime to take over the Texas National Guard. Can you imagine something like that happening? The federal government takes over a National Guard.
That's hilarious.
The federal government can continue destroying Texas and the country that way, shredding the country's culture, making us easier.
Yeah, can you imagine if the federal government took over the National Guard? Can you imagine how much worse those George Floyd riots would have been and how many helicopters Trump would have crashed on people? Look at the state where he was able to use them.
Yeah, exactly.
But who doesn't want to make it a state you people? To win elections, which of course is what this is all about. They want to radically change your country for their betterment. Today, Biden's mouthpiece was asked whether the federal government.
Are you going to show sources from the Heritage Foundation now while you say that Biden wants to radically change the country?
Who picks your fruit? Who does your labor? Who?
Bro, the fucking business owners in Texas are they're like pissed. The business
I bet they are
fucking pissed in Texas.
Yeah, because they understand.
So like also as well as like people who are like most of the people who are like awful and racist in Texas are like newcomers to the state.
Oh, I bet they are.
Because the Texas government stays red to use red policies to pull people into the state.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She's not too bright. Here's what she said.
Democrats are saying the president needs to federalize the Texas National Guard.
So look,
something that could happen.
I mean,
Is
look,
this the press
I'll say this,
secretary?
Yeah, I think that's one of her roles.
The Border Patrol agents are now, as you said, allowed to cut through the wire because of what the Supreme Court has laid out. It's unfortunate that we had to go there. It's unfortunate that there is a governor in Texas, Governor Abbott, who has politicized this issue of what's happening on the border. And it's not making people's lives safer. It's actually making it harder for law enforcement at the border to do their job. I'm not going to speak to any actions that the president might take, may not take, but we've been very clear on this.
What did she say wrong there? Yeah, I think that was a bad clip to show to try and mislead people.
Country's border, the sovereignty of a country, and then you pretend that the people trying to fix the problem are the ones breaking it. This is what we see.
They are
on every piece of policy from this White House. What they do, they allege everyone else is doing. It's terrifying.
You're the one pretending, bro.
The hot talking point from
you're not even real. You're only made of moonlight.
It's terrifying. You guys, it's terrifying. Be scared. Watch the news more, but only us.
In all of this. Today, the former president asked any state willing to
Dialogue in motion
to send their National Guard to Texas to help protect the border. Trump is also getting the credit or the blame for destroying a weak-handed potential Senate border deal that would have...
That's not how you spell rhino, dickhead.
Yeah, it is. It's how you spell Republican in name only.
No, I know.
It's the acronym, bro.
I know. Because they made no attempt to make it look like that. Because it should be capitals, lowercase s. You fucking dickheads.
Would have allowed 5,000 migrants a day to continue crossing into your country. That was the deal Republicans had made. It was another deal where Republicans get absolutely smoked. We should be used to that by now.
I didn't see only
Trump told Republicans
news.
not to take the deal, forcing Mitch McConnell to walk away from it. That's how much power Trump still has when he's sitting at Mar-a-Lago.
Did he freeze?
No. He's telling the truth right now.
Terrifying is that Trump was needed for this at all.
Okay.
Republicans making a deal like this was actually a possibility. That's the political party. That's the state of that political party.
Is that Mitt Romney?
It would validate the despicable, politically...
Mitt Romney, yeah, if you want to pull up the Mitt Romney clip, that's pretty funny. That's in there.
For the past 3 years. Imagine cutting a deal that allows 150,000 migrants a month to continue pouring in. That's the new limit, according to this potential deal that now has thankfully disappeared. So that's the reality of that deal. And knowing that, take a listen to how Mitt Romney explained it.
Oh, here you go. You don't have to pull up Mitt Romney.
I think the border is a very important issue for Donald Trump. And the fact that he would communicate to Republican senators and congresspeople that he doesn't want us to solve the border problem because he wants to blame Biden for it is really appalling.
You hear what is being said there, though, right? So the vote that was going on for the deal to fund the border, that would also push, would have, we have Ukraine tied to this too now, right?
Awesome. Great.
So Trump is throwing hand grenades in at the last minute, sabotaging this deal that's, I believe, still passed. Because they literally just but it's like they said it's in limbo or something. I don't know. We'll see, because I pulled coverage for it.
Insane.
But the fact that Ukrainians have to die for this shit.
Yeah, it's insane.
For a fucking boat ramp.
For politicking, yeah.
And so many more need to be primaried. If you want to know why this country keeps getting pulled to the left,
I don't care.
He's gay.
Pick a random one.
He's gay.
You reckon?
We have to keep our country gay.
Damn, bro, that's got to be like the gayest shit I've ever heard ever.
What's the SBG?
SpongeBob is gay.
Did you learn what SPG was, Jack? After you pressed it.
The authors of the Constitution knew there would be times when the federal government would not live up to its duty. And so they empowered states in Article 1.
We already saw what Greg Abbott had to say. Ted Cruz.
And Greg Abbott
Warning,
is exactly
we're covering
right
Ted Cruz. We're about to show
Section
him.
10 of the Constitution gives states the authority, what Justice Scalia referred to as the sovereign rights of states to protect themselves from an invasion. That's what Texas is doing.
Well, so Senator, you've heard the president time and time again saying that, look, I want to resolve this border crisis. We know it's a problem, but we need Congress to give us the money to do it. And the Senate is working on this border bill. You have blasted it, obviously, and now there's this other reporting coming out suggesting that maybe the
not
Mitch
a natural
McConnell
blonde.
and leadership is
It's a shame she's on Fox.
Not a natural blonde. She's no Kayleigh McEnany. Oh, that's another thing. Kayleigh McEnany and Trump are now beefing.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
I stand with Kayleigh.
Well, yeah, duh.
I should hesitate.
She had a double mastectomy.
Yeah, because of breast cancer, right?
Yeah, isn't that wild?
Yeah. What's the beef about?
Oh, fielding loyalty to him and kissing his rings and stuff. She said something pro Nikki Haley. It's in there. I put it in there.
Yeah.
Support for it. What is going on there? Are Republicans really going to back away from an issue that they keep saying needs to be solved?
So let me break that into two pieces. You started by what Biden is saying.
Let me break that into two pieces like a candy bar. I'm going to eat the candy bar.
Technical term for that, it's called a lie. And it's not just a little bit of a lie. It is a brazen, it is the definition of chutzpah. Here's why. When Joe Biden became president, he inherited the lowest rate of illegal immigration in 45 years. He inherited great success. And
you know what's funny? Like literally, and the dynamo of energy and excitement, Jared Kushner.
Before anyone was even watching us, right? We were making videos about Title 42 and this exact narrative.
Yeah. You can go back and look at them.
He opened up the border. 3 decisions caused this crisis. His first week in office, Joe Biden halted construction of the border wall. He reinstated.
I think there might be one on Patreon too. I think
they're still building the border wall. So
catch and release, and he pulled out of the incredibly successful Remain in Mexico agreement. And those decisions caused illegal immigration to skyrocket.
Remain in Mexico, that's when child separation was happening on the other side of the border.
Need more money. Those decisions, Biden could solve this problem tomorrow. He doesn't want to.
So are you saying that there's no reason to have a border bill?
We don't need a border bill. We achieved the lowest rate of illegal immigration in 45 years under Donald Trump. What was different is you had a president that wanted to secure the border. Joe Biden is defying the law right now. And so you asked about the border deal. Listen, I'm all for using every leverage we have to try to force Biden to comply with the law. But this deal doesn't do that. This deal was negotiated with Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer doesn't want to secure the border. He looks at 9.6 million illegal immigrants, and what he sees is future Democrat voters, and he's willing to overlook.
He sees dollar signs.
Suffering, the women and children.
Okay, he sees dollar signs and exploitable workers, just like you do, Ted. Don't lie.
Being brutalized by human traffickers, all of those are acceptable prices to pay for Democrats to stay in power.
I mean, it's coming down to a simple question, Senator. Do we have a border? Martha put this to John Kirby on her program yesterday. Watch this.
Wouldn't it be funny if she asked that question and somebody hit her in the head with a book? It's like, do we have a border? Shut the hell up. Just the book flies across the room.
Can we go back to the chicken, the Reg? Here's way better.
Belly John, to stop people from entering. It seems that he
wants,
I don't think he's lacking any sense of urgency about the need for border security at all.
You say there's no lack of urgency. He's been president for 3 years.
He has
definitely not deceptively edited with all these jump cuts.
No, not at all.
To what executive action can do, and we really need support from Congress.
Do we have a southern border?
This guy looks like he's...
Because she asked the question, so he get a book. Bro, the background is literally that picture that the picture where it's like shows all the like signs on some random road in America.
This guy looks like his body ends here where my mouth is.
This is one of my puppets, bro.
Just right here. That's where his body ends. It's just like a puppet suit, like in what's that movie? The Turtle Man one? The disguise guy.
Disguise?
Yeah, that one. It's like that big suit. That's what I imagine.
What a fucking
Do we have a southern border?
Yes, ma'am. Of course we
do. Then how come people can flow across it every single day?
We're working very hard to try to fix it.
Borders are imaginary lines, sweetheart. They don't exist. That's
how come we
why,
don't have
man.
guys with bayonets to stab people as they come
Exactly.
in?
Why can't there be death squads and landmines like
Dude,
in North
Abbott
Korea?
literally said we would shoot him, but then Biden would get mad at us. Who on earth remembers that movie? The only reason why I knew immediately is because of weird 9/11 lore.
The only thing I remember is the scene with the suit. I don't
Well,
remember
that scene
else.
was shot, and when they were shooting that scene, it was like right after they came in, after 9/11 happened. So it was their first shooting day after 9/11.
Oh my god!
And so he was like in full turtle suit and turtle makeup, and they all bowed their heads and had a moment of silence.
There had to be someone facing him who glanced up and
they like talked about it. They're like, should we do something? And somebody was like, how about we do like a moment of silence? Because they felt like it's like it would be weird just going back to work after something like that happened.
Sure.
So they wanted to do something. I don't know. It's just funny.
It is very funny.
So that's why we need congressional action. That's why the president asked for additional funding.
If we have thousands and thousands and thousands of people flowing over that
Let the
border,
girl in the red
do we
talk.
have a border?
Shut up.
We don't. We have an open border, and that is by
You
design.
too, Ted.
By the
Shut
way,
up.
The White House has claimed they need more money. The
Full
money
screen,
they
Ted.
want is more money to process illegal immigrants more quickly. They want 9.6 million to become 20 million, 30 million, 40 million.
Didn't we just see the guy complaining about how the process is too slow and it takes 9 months?
Yeah.
Yes, Ted. It's literally what you want. Don't act like it's fucking not. I fucking hate these people so much. There's literally people dying right now because of that.
Yep.
They want to speed this up. They want more illegal immigration. And understand, it's not that Joe Biden is bad at his job, that he's negligent, that he doesn't know how to do it. He wants this crisis because he gets a political benefit, he believes, from it. He could solve it overnight because he caused it overnight. You know, Sandra, I spend a lot of time on the southern border. I go out on midnight patrol with the Border Patrol agents.
I know
you do.
You do.
You're
little
not looking
photo
for
shoots
illegal
at the
immigrants.
border
They
all the
look
time.
for
We
you.
love it.
They find you. They
Does he
turn
wear
themselves
combat
into
armor?
you.
He goes out like he's doing a safari for Mexicans. There's so much of it. He'll literally be in the middle of the night and you'll hear generators with the floodlights lighting him for his fucking camera so he can make a video for fucking Facebook and Instagram. Dude's a fucking loser.
And the reason they do so is as soon as they do, the Biden administration asks them, hey, where would you like to go? And they say, I want to go to New York. I want to go to Boston. I want to go to Dallas. I want to go to Miami. And the Biden administration puts them on a plane or on a bus and sends them to every city in America. So
what did Florida do to Martha's Vineyard again?
Oh yeah.
Did they put them on a bus?
They lied to them and sent them there. That's Greg Abbott's thing. Greg Abbott started doing that, and so then DeSantis did it for political points when he started running.
It's Biden.
It's a Greg Abbott thing. Abbott is the one who's been doing it.
But it's
Abbott
Biden.
is just insane.
But it's Biden doing it.
Yeah, no, that does happen. Like they send them to logistical facilities throughout the country.
Yeah, to handle them, right?
Yeah, and also
so it's a process. So it's not
human trafficking. But what Abbott is doing is he like lies to people saying they're going somewhere and then just drops them off in a random location with no surfaces, so cities have to scramble.
Yep, human trafficking.
Yeah, literally, that's what he's doing.
Yep, and that's the red states, not Biden. Cool. Glad we settled that.
So every city in America is a border city right now.
Oh, is that right, Ted? Did we not just debunk everything that you're saying? Shut the fuck up.
If you want to solve this problem, Donald Trump, when he's reelected in January of next year, will solve this problem, and he'll do so by one thing and one thing alone. When someone's apprehended, you put them on a plane, you fly them back home, and the crisis goes away.
How much money is that going to cost?
Republican colleague Lindsey Graham just recently said that to any of my colleagues who think you're going to get a better border deal under President Trump.
I think Trump had an idea from Obama as well.
Did you hear what she just said? One of my colleagues,
you will never see it coming.
Lee McEnany from the far right, bro. It's really funny.
You won't. And this bill that has been negotiated gives real tools to the next president. Is your position then that nothing is better than something? And have you even read this bill to be able to say that?
So I haven't read the bill, and there's a reason. Nobody's read the bill. They won't actually give us the text. So the reason they won't give us the text, the way it works in Washington, if you're hiding the text, it means it's even worse than people think it is. It means if people knew what was in it, they'd be even more upset. All they've given us is some general bullet points. But I'll tell you what they have done. One of those bullet points is this effectively normalizes 5,000.
It's hilarious that he's saying that people in Congress actually read the bills.
Mm-hmm.
5,000 illegal immigrants a day. 5,000 a day, that works out to over 1.8 million illegal immigrants a year.
Oh my God.
That is utterly unacceptable. That's nearly
low.
6 million illegal immigrants under Joe Biden. So apparently the Republican position is we'll take 2/3 of the border crisis. Look, the answer needs to be...
Could you give us some of your political beliefs?
Kill everyone now. Condone first-degree murder.
Exactly. Just allow people that live on the border of Texas to murder people. Problem solved. Would that not be the appropriate libertarian action? Ted Cruz.
And solve it, and we can do that. Trump or any Republican president willing to enforce the law doesn't need this bill to do that. They can go back. You reverse those 3 decisions Biden made. You build the wall, you end catch and release, and you reinstate the Remain in Mexico agreement, and the numbers will plummet again, just like they did 3 years ago.
Senator, one of your roles in Washington is also the top Republican on the Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee. I know you met with the CEO of Vaush.
I'm done with Ted Cruz.
I told her to shut up anyway. She can shut up.
The lady in red's not talking. I got bored.
Another blonde.
Who's this one?
Joining us now is the governor of Texas, and great to have you here with us, sir.
Okay, this is the actual interview that they've been cutting to the whole time.
Okay.
Who decide was the breaking point for you to take the steps that you did, and maybe also just back up and let people know what you're
back
saying
up
about the compact between the federal government and the state of Texas today.
So it was the
Chuck
states
it
that
in
created the
reverse.
United States, and when the states voted to create the United States and have a constitution, included in that agreement was the compact that the federal government would take care of the states. And Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution speaks to that and says that if the federal government does not take care of the states, and the states are in danger, well, we can ask the federal government to live up to its obligation. Then the authors of the Constitution knew there would be times when the federal government would not live up to its duty. And so
You didn't though.
Literally stopped them.
You literally didn't do this though. All you did, you didn't ask them to live. You didn't do a formal thing or a formal bill saying that you need this or need that. You didn't do anything. All you did was block a boat ramp, bro.
Yeah.
Please clap.
Empowered states in Article 1, Section 10, the right of self-defense. And what Texas is asserting is our Article 1, Section 10 right of self-defense, because the President of the United States is not fulfilling his duty to enforce the laws passed by Congress that deny illegal entry into the United States.
Governor, will you instruct your officers to physically prevent federal...
Did you see that? You can't see it. Make it smaller. There. Watch her.
officers from... Will you
when it comes
instruct
back.
your officers to physically prevent federal officers?
She was zoning the fuck out.
Yeah. No, she's like literally a robot. She's a news robot. So like the red light will turn on if your camera's on.
Yeah.
Right. So she saw the red light go on, and it communicated with her Furby gem that's in her forehead. She's like, "Oh, me hungry."
From accessing that part of the border.
So what Texas is doing is just very simple.
Blocking a boat ramp. We're just blocking a boat ramp. It's real simple. We just have to move to stop blocking the boat ramp, and the crisis will end.
We're simply the best. You're not first, you're last.
Really, truly abdicated its responsibility to secure the border and enforce the laws.
Yeah.
Texas very simply is securing the border. And so we put up the razor wire that you were talking about, Bill, and we put up all these barricades that actually have denied illegal entry. And as you pointed out also in that screen, that there are criminals coming across our border. Texas
the National Guard sure looks busy.
Yeah, wow.
There's there's literally people inside the razor wire, bro. Do you see that? Like a fucking jigsaw trap.
Yeah.
State to stop criminals from coming into our state, to make arrests of those criminals. And we have National Guard as well as Texas Department of Public Safety officers who are there to make those arrests and to deny illegal entry. And Joe Biden actually does have an option here. Joe Biden's option is to enforce the laws of the United States.
He's trying. You're continually making obstacles.
Stop this illegal entry.
Doesn't look like they're going to do that. Listen to Corinne Jean-Pierre. This is what she said about you yesterday.
It's unfortunate that there is a governor in Texas, Governor Abbott, who has politicized this issue of what's happening on the border. And it's not making people's lives safer. It's actually making it harder for law enforcement at the border to do their job.
She just said that this morning. How do you respond?
Well, obviously, it's a very uninformed comment on her part. There's really only one person in America not doing their job, and that's the president of the United States, who's not enforcing immigration laws. Also, as she has already been called out, and the president and other Democrats and media, they have cast a false narrative about some people dying on the border that apparently Texas denied.
Look at these floods in Homeland who have to come cut this fucking
The
fence,
only thing
bro.
that the spokesperson for Biden can do is to cast aspersions and lies, hoping that people will believe them. Because
isn't it funny that they usually like, oh, there's no women and children?
the truth of the matter is, what Texas is doing is what Americans expect to be done. Americans expect the border to be secured.
Wow.
Because
I
Joe
would be
Biden has
so
abandoned that responsibility.
mad if I was fucking Border Patrol right now, having to fucking cut this wire as more is being put up.
Yeah.
I like fuck you. I'm not showing up to work today. Fuck off. Let me know when this fucking shit's over.
Texas is stepping up and doing it with all that razor wire that you're showing right now.
Bro,
and you've committed to putting
No, you're not. It's one park and one fucking boat ramp.
or razor wire, where the U.S. Supreme Court just a few days ago said,
What an awful suit.
Oh,
It
I
looks
know, right?
tweed.
Fucking Paddington Bear ass looking man.
Jesus, what an awful suit. Holy hell.
that the feds are allowed.
It's worse than
to cut
Jordan
through the wire
Peterson.
that you've been watching yourself for a couple of years now. And just to go back to your first answer that you mentioned there, this was your statement yesterday. The federal government has broken the compact between the United States and the states. The executive branch of the United States has a constitutional duty to enforce federal laws protecting states, including immigration laws on the books right now. So if you lost this week at the U.S. Supreme Court, does this now go back there? And how would you expect to win a second time around?
Sure. One quick point of clarification.
You know, he went to like India right after this.
Who did? Abbott.
Abbott, yeah.
Why?
He's like, that's what people are like. Oh yeah, there's definitely not a civil war happening. Dude is in India right now. He went to India to be honored as the best fascist in America.
What the
fuck? I don't know, bro. It's fucking India.
Crazy.
Just said that everybody's saying, and that is that the Supreme Court. You said the Supreme Court said what Texas cannot do. If you look at what the Supreme Court actually issued, they didn't write any type of opinion. All they did was to vacate a Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals order and to send it back to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. It's two sentences. There was no opinion about anything about razor wire or what Texas is doing or anything like that. But that point aside, regardless of what federal statute may exist, the supremacy clause means that the Constitution itself is the supreme law of the land. The Constitution itself provides Texas with a right of self-defense in this case, because the United States has abandoned its responsibility to defend Texas.
So if you can get this case
Defend
on
the
the merits to the
Texas.
Supreme Court, you could win.
So Dan,
Yeah,
first,
I like
now-
JP's suits too. I like a few of them. Some of them are really funny. His Twitter suit is like so pathetic. I'm sure he has like a
I
Joe
think maybe
Rogan suit
we will
too,
get to
knowing
the-
him.
Fifth
It's
Circuit
just Joe
on its
Rogan's
merits,
face.
where I believe we can.
Yeah.
And I do believe that when
I
we
think
get to
he
the
is in
Supreme
India.
Court,
Look behind him.
True.
can win. We already. I don't know how and why the justices voted the way they did, but there seemed to be 4 justices
No
who
American
indicated at least an
flags?
appetite to hear the case as is.
Ah, not fascist.
I'm telling you, he's coming from India right now. That's why that statue's there.
A fair point is the case that was presented to the United States Supreme Court actually did not have very much of a record upon which an appellate court can actually make a decision. So those who may not have voted in favor of Texas, or let's say those who voted to send it back to the Fifth Circuit, they may have thought in their mind that there's not enough record for them to make a decision. But we don't know that, Dana, and this is very important again, because there were no sentences or paragraphs or pages of an opinion written by the Supreme Court. So
Show
no one knows
it.
at all what they were
Show
doing.
it. If it's just
All
2
we know is they wanted
sentences,
to
put it
send
on
back
screen.
to the Fifth Circuit.
Yeah,
Governor, I know
true.
you were just
Do
overseas
it.
in India, but I know you paid attention.
There you go. He is.
Literally not even in this country.
Dedicated to the state.
New Hampshire the other night with the
Sent the message to let people die and then left. What a fucking Ted Cruz level fuckwit. Fucking hell. If this is as much as a crisis as these fucking idiots are putting it on to be,
Yeah.
they should be as disgusted with him as they were with Ted Cruz. But this is the first fucking time that I've heard about him being overseas. This is a hilariously glaring display of hypocrisy from the right wing.
exit polling told us, and the entrance polling and our voter analysis said immigration is topic number one. We saw it in Iowa, we saw it in New Hampshire. So Americans are thinking about this, okay? And I'm curious about sort of the shadow story here that a lot of people don't talk about, and that is what the administration's doing with Mexico. And this has been going on for some time, maybe a month, maybe more than that, between Anthony Blinken and the president's deputies coming to Washington, D.C. Do you believe this administration is ready and prepared?
How many times have I been saying they need to talk about the fucking policies going on in Mexico? Now we're finally getting it from Fox News. I can't wait to hear how they twist this shit.
To change policy at the border in an election year with 10 months to spare, that would make the issue less potent for Democrats.
Bro, not only are they changed policy in an election year in the U.S., AMLO's term is ending. Like, you don't even know it, but we know there's the next president of Mexico will be a woman. It's basically his successor. She's gonna win. He's too popular. His policies are too popular. It's just there's no way she's not winning. But technically, we don't. It's like Obama's Cuba policy, right? Like the other side could come in and totally cancel all his policies, but he's trying really hard to force his because his mega project, the train. You know about that?
No.
So in the south of Mexico, like where the Zapatistas are and other indigenous people, he's basically putting a train through all their land, and they don't like that. Awesome. So he's now made it a matter of national security to build it. But his whole thing is that it connects with borders, right? It's on the border there, so it's able. It's like they exploit that labor. So that's why the mega project is there. It's like a whole thing to like boost the entire economy of that region. Because he's very left wing. He's very left wing. But
hopefully the Zapatistas fight them the fuck off and they go around their land.
Well, they're not building it because, well, we'll see what happens. Because that's what the Supreme Court of Mexico basically said. Nope, can't do it. And then he's like, it's a matter of national security.
In favor of the Zapatistas?
Just in favor of indigenous land rights.
Interesting.
It's hard for me to tell what's going on. What is clear is that Joe Biden has, from the time he took office, actually during the time that he was campaigning, he had no intent to secure the border. He talked about open border policies during the campaign, and now he's allowed open border policies with candidly most Americans not even.
We're going to touch on AMLO's policy.
Now the people in New York knows what it means. Now the people in Chicago knows what it means. People across the country are having to experience what open borders mean. Bill, I'll tell you this. Most incumbents.
Yeah, it means fear-mongering from Republicans and nothing actually changing because it's just normal, everyday function of a state. And this is just political rhetoric. And now people are dying because of it. Very cool.
Get fired. And they get fired because they're doing a bad job. As you talked about, the immigration system and the border issue is the primary issue in America right now. This is an issue upon which Joe Biden gets a grade of F and deserves to be fired.
Okay, buddy.
Governor Greg Abbott, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it, and we'll stay in touch.
Shut up.
I don't think really any president's border policy has been better than another. I mean, Reagan was the one who was like, that's what's funny is the AMLO proposal that's going on, which Chuck Schumer is also participating in. It's federal and the Senate are both doing it. They're both participating in these talks with Mexico. Literally, Fox News like reported on it, and all the comments were like, "Isn't this what Reagan did?" Oh, now we get to see the other side of the news.
Yep.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott says the state will keep adding razor wire along the Rio Grande, despite the Supreme Court allowing the Biden administration to cut and remove it. Texas argues the wire acts as a deterrent for migrants coming to the southern border. White House officials have called it inhumane. As this plays out, negotiations.
It's not like there isn't wire there the rest of the year, by the way.
In jeopardy.
Yeah.
CBS News has learned Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell acknowledged Wednesday the politics around the border have changed because Donald Trump wants to use the issue to attack President Biden. Legislation signed by Biden would undermine those attacks. Here's how Senator Mitt Romney reacted to that Thursday.
The idea that someone running for president would say, please hurt the country so I can blame my opponent and help my politics.
Isn't this wild, though, that Trump's doing this?
Shocking.
It's the same thing. Like, what did he do? What did he do? Oh, he was saying that he hopes the economy crashes.
Yeah, if he doesn't get elected, yeah.
No, before the election. He said, I hope the economy crashes so people will vote for me. Bro, maybe you should have like not failed at COVID and people would have voted for you. Like, that's literally all you had to do and you would have won.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
clarified his support for both the border talks and aid for Ukraine, which is a part of those negotiations. Let's bring in CBS News immigration reporter Camilo Montoya Galvez at the border in Eagle Pass, Texas. Camilo, does placing more razor wire put Texas in a legally gray area, or does it have a leg to stand on in this tussle with the federal government?
Yes, I'm a reporter, not a law expert, but let me tell you what's going on here.
With the federal government, with the Biden administration. In fact,
this guy literally is just him with his own cameras, behind solo unit.
We set up more miles of fencing and razor wire to repel migrants from crossing into the country illegally, and that is because the state, John, is not legally required.
He does.
To
this
remove
is so
it.
classic. That's that AirPods have now become like the standard IFB.
Yeah.
So it's like he just has his little fucking wireless lapel mic and an AirPod.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a good idea. It's a good way to do it.
Until they fucking fall out all the time when you move your head.
Sure. That's where you get AirPod Pros.
Remove or cut the razor wire by suspending a lower court order that had blocked Border Patrol from doing that, but it has not required Texas, John, to remove the razor wire affirmatively. So Texas is continuing to add more barriers to impede the passage of migrants into the U.S. in the stretch of the U.S.-Mexico border. Right now, Border Patrol cannot access this park behind me because the Texas National Guard is blocking them from
referencing why you're
entering
standing in this spot. Good reporting. Textbook, bro.
And so they cannot cut the wire here, but that could change in the coming days. The Department of Homeland Security, John, has given Texas until tomorrow to say that it will abandon this park and allow Border Patrol agents to patrol the riverbanks of the Rio Grande and to process migrants here. Otherwise, the Justice Department could very well sue.
Remember when I said this days ago that's what was going to happen?
Yeah.
Is that the Texas was going to get sued?
Notice how little fear mongering there was. Interesting, right?
Fucking Eminem over here.
A record month for migrant arrivals. What does the pace look like now?
That's right. Well, John, back in December, more than 300,000 migrants were processed at and in between ports of entry here along the U.S.-Mexico border. That is an on-time monthly high that broke every other record in U.S. history. But since then, the number of migrants crossing the U.S.-Mexico border illegally has plummeted. Officials have attributed that to increased Mexican enforcement. The Mexican government following a meeting.
What was that? Crazy, Can we go back and hear what caused this drop real quick?
Yeah.
Go back 10 seconds. What caused the drop in immigration?
But since then, the number of migrants crossing the U.S.-Mexico border illegally has plummeted. Officials have attributed that to increased Mexican enforcement. The Mexican government, following a meeting in Mexico City with the Biden administration, has increased deportations of migrants, including to Venezuela, and has stopped buses and trains that are carrying migrants. Officials are also attributing this drop in illegal crossings to a historical, seasonal trend, John, where migrant apprehensions drop after the holidays. So this obviously is
crazy. Isn't it insane that as soon as we come off the right-wing fuckwits, we get the information? Isn't that interesting?
Great reporting.
Crazy.
Is this guy in the field?
It'll come up.
Status quo, but it could very well change as the temperatures get warmer, John, and Mexican enforcement perhaps decreases.
Camilo Montoya Galvez, thank you so much, Camilo. For more, let's bring in CBS News congressional correspondent Scott McFarland on Capitol Hill.
Oh my God! Of course, this is what their congressional correspondent looks like. All right, let's hear it. This is gonna be all. There you go.
There's his name there.
Immigration reporter.
Just a bit of a shout out because that was actually pretty good.
Yeah, he did a great. Look, he literally. You can tell. Go back. You can tell he literally just got into frame. You know, like the way he's like backing up when they cut to him.
More razor wire put Texas in a legally gray area, or is the state? Does it have a leg to stand on in this tussle with the federal government?
Good evening, John. The state of Texas.
It's funny because the shot in the studio the sky looks better than the full screen, right? So they must have balanced it to the studio fucking TV.
Bring in CBS News congressional correspondent Scott McFarland on Capitol Hill. Scott, let's talk about former President Trump. How is he?
Also, yeah, God, I fucking hope so. That would be just delicious.
Affecting these negotiations, and who's listening to him?
These negotiations are already wobbly, to be charitable about it, John. And Donald Trump is poised and positioned, if not ready, to just chop the legs out from beneath them, because he can impose his preferences, if not his will, on the dozens and dozens of congressional Republicans who've endorsed him.
We want this man to have power again.
As 2024 moves through. And I think ultimately, Donald Trump wants a border deal spiked It's hard to envision how a Republican coalition comes together in the U.S. House, potentially the necessary vote in the U.S. Senate. He has that capability. But Lindsey Graham, the Trump ally,
You know how
in South
like
Carolina,
QAnon says
is
that he's
pressing
still the
Trump,
real
that
president?
this won't
Yeah,
impact the
yeah.
2024 election.
They're
and
not
better
exactly
position
wrong.
the future President Trump to deal with border issues if he's empowered the way Congress is trying to through these negotiations. Let's see how far that argument gets.
I'm saying most Republicans are just dumb.
The way it was originally
They're
designed,
misled.
legislators
They're programmed
were
and
when
misled
presidents
with
tried to tell them what to
lies.
do. Now,
Yeah.
Like no lies have even like it. Like this is supposed to be left wing bias CBS News, bro. And literally nothing besides actual facts have been stated in this news report.
Yeah.
presidential candidates are telling them what to do. But let's move on. Scott, border policy was meant to be a part of this, tied to the money for Ukraine, Israel. If there's no consensus on the border, what happens to Ukraine aid?
A lot of the skeptics say this is a fanciful notion, trying to put two very difficult things together into the same package and assuming it makes things easier to pass. Ukraine aid, if separated from border negotiations, could fare better, according to Virginia Senator Tim Kaine, says the votes are there. If it gets to the floor, the votes are there for Ukraine aid to pass, even though it's
get it to the fucking floor, bro.
But how do you get it there? We still have a divided Congress with conflicting interests, conflicting campaign motivations, and just flat out conflicts right now. And the timetable's everything, isn't it, John? I mean, this is money the White House said it needed at the end of December. We are reaching the end of January.
All right. Let's do something fun before we go into the ICJ.
Is Kayleigh McEnany Trump being mad at Kayleigh McEnany?
How about
the concept is simple? It's a tier list.
Okay, this one is so funny, bro.
YouTubers.
This is so wild to me.
Criteria of this tier list.
Wish it would pause.
Just go to where he's actually ranking people. This is the most unhinged tier list I think I've ever come across, bro. Look, he's even got it sectioned. Let's see how he ranks some of these people.
Ben Shapiro. Now, I happen to like Ben Shapiro. I think he has a certain charisma to him. He talks very fast. And the thing that I like about Ben Shapiro is that
did you see he did his eye makeup like the political compass?
Yeah.
Is that great?
It's invested.
Opinion on any issue, you really can't go wrong with Ben Shapiro. He will pretty much give it to you as you want it and in the most fast and convenient way possible, eloquently stated. Yeah, he does tend to make a lot of kind of bad arguments, especially when he's doing stuff like debating religion and stuff, and that kind of shows his very flawed
this is like
and biased
non-ironic drag, bro. This is so accurate. This video is fucking insane. It is like drag.
Hilarious.
But overall, I find him quite likable. I think he has this nerdiness that I like. I think Vaush described him as like 8th grade book report kid, and it is
Gavin
charming.
McInnes
I think he has a lot of intelligence. I think he really is a very intelligent person. And he can use his intelligence in whichever way he wants.
Jimmy Dore's a big one.
Use it to be.
Oh no! You know who else is a big section? Can you see that? Oh no! Oh no! Sargon. This is great.
Sargon of Akkad is pretty funny. I watched this whole
Jewish
thing. I could not stop laughing
Zionist.
at him.
But that's okay. That's his prerogative. I'll give him. I'm not comfortable going A, but I'll put him in B tier. Next, we have Blair White. Blair White fills a niche that quite a lot of people are filling now. The edgy trans person niche, like the trans person who is against other trans people. I kind of have a soft spot for these.
That's why she's S tier. She filled a niche that nobody else had at the point. She was the first one to do it. S tier.
The queen of the pick-me's.
Yeah.
That on the left, they're called like pick-me's or something, whatever that means. But Blair White is pretty much the original edgy, politically incorrect trans
Did it say pick-me's in the top corner?
And for that, she gets
credit.
I think she's generally reasonable, although she does tend to get kind of catty. Like she tends to get overly involved in kind of petty politics and petty drama. Not in a super personal way, but just in a super catty way. Like she will kind of insult people, I think, a little bit too much. But I like that she's out there as a trans person, injecting a little bit of honesty into the trans conversation. I mean, say what you want.
Okay.
You can disagree with her opinions, but I like the fact that she's honest about her identity. She says, you know, I don't think of myself as a woman. I don't claim to be as a woman, to be a woman. I am a trans woman, and that's a different thing. Which I see that as very honest. That's, you know, not
okay. Boring. Dave Rubin.
D tier. Next, we have Dave Rubin. He's a D tier. He sucks.
D for Dave.
He's a
Correct.
total airhead. He has got nothing going on between
Correct
the ears.
opinion.
He's got no actual perspective. He's a pure grifter, plain and simple, with nothing to offer.
He's the dumb blonde of the gays. That's what he is. That's ahead.
100%. Like he does not. He like think he literally is like I'm the ultimate centrist.
Even Joe Rogan understands that. As mild-mannered and friendly as he is, you would think he would have a certain amount of likability, but just the plain, you know, lack of any kind of dignity Republican than Dennis Prager. This man is the model of what a Republican is.
No, he isn't.
Next. Whatever kind of bird that is. I actually quite like him. I like his country ball history videos. I think they're very
awful.
Have you seen Crowd's Saudi Arabia video? It's like, it broke me. I was like,
objectively awful content.
No one up here is going to call you Donald Trump anymore. We're going to call you Donald Duck.
Interesting. He's a liberal, you know, just
Is
kind
he?
of your basic European liberal. But one thing I really like about him is his voice. He has this lovely, absolutely lovely German accent that I just love hearing.
Wrong.
Yeah, I think he talks nice.
There's no such thing.
He talks nice.
I never get tired of hearing it. Next, we have Gavin McInnes.
This is so funny.
Gavin McInnes, not
I'm
McGuinness.
excited.
This guy's a little bit of a weirdo. He has this thing where
He is very strange.
You can't really tell if he's trolling when he talks, because he says things that he honestly, he gives me Colbert Report vibes. Like he feels like a parody.
Now, is it me or is this guy's teeth?
And I mean that like down to
Yeah, they're awful.
The various.
I was going to comment before, but I stopped myself. But now that you brought it up, I can unleash.
Like, did you eat
looks like
candy before this?
He looks like he's British without a British accent.
Yeah, I thought he was British too. You know, because there's the Welsh flag there too.
The Welsh flag and the awful teeth. He should be British.
Artifacts of his being, like he wears those suspenders and carries around a briefcase, and you know
come on, man.
He kind of lives this sort of stereotype of the conservative and just doesn't care. Like he doesn't have respect for art. He only cares about money and business, and I feel like he plays this up as kind of a character. Like I don't think that this is really
what
him.
else we got?
I think that
no, you
Gavin
gotta
McInnes,
just wait.
At his heart,
Truth
is
and
just
Justice,
an edgelord, and back in the 80s, that
Napoleon.
manifested for him as punk rock. He was a punk rocker.
Oh, you're looking at his books?
Yeah, because I can see them clearly, but I can't see him.
Yeah.
Switch games. Of course, he's got an ancient Rome book. Cringe.
You got to hear what he says about Gavin McInnes next, though. It's so funny.
At least I've got something interesting.
Crowd needs to read an actual history book.
And he had a bunch of tattoos about like anarchism and feminism and stuff. And then he kind of transitioned into this sort of Vice hipster sort of thing in the 2000s before finally just embracing his transition into just being a hardcore conservative. But he was always chasing what's going to be edgy, what's going to make me hated. And by, you know, the law of inverse liked.
They referenced the Protocols
and
of
so
Elder
I
Zion.
wonder
I
how
mean, I
much
wrote
of his
that
turn to
book. That's a great
conservatism
book.
was motivated out of a genuine interest in politics, and how much of it was motivated just by him trying to be the edgiest thing that he can be in the moment,
It's
because
gonna get-
a
he's gonna say
lot
some
of
real
what he
funny
does and
shit.
says feels
No,
disingenuous.
I'm just going to skip Hunter
and
Avalon because who gives a shit?
disingenuous for the purposes of comedy, which is interesting. It's like it really is like he's playing a character.
Focus your camera, bro.
He's someone
Fuck
who
me.
plays characters all the time. Like he plays this Scottish parody of his father, and he plays this, the parody of liberals. He does a lot of these little characters.
Oh my god,
And
is this
so
going to be the
his
same
regular
shit
Gavin
that he says
McInnes
about Steven
persona
Crowder?
No, he hates Steven Crowder.
Interesting.
Just
does feel
just wait till
like a
his
character.
final
Also,
thing.
Yeah,
here we go.
He's bisexual. Even all right, this might be a little bit of a stretch, but like he's done and said so many things that indicate that he's attracted to men over the
His
years.
gaydar is
He's
going
even
off.
Put a dildo up his ass, either that or a butt plug. It was one of those. And he talked about how bisexuals, they're not really bi, they're just horny. I mean, if I were that young and horny, I would be bi too. I don't know.
Okay,
There's
this is
just a recurring pattern of this stuff, and I can't ignore it. But that being said, all that said,
There is a common trend of Nazis being gay and also pedophiles, so
They're fucking awesome.
highly likely. For legal reasons, that was a joke.
Why are you gay?
Hey, the background's finally coming out of focus.
Fucking finally.
I find his comedy actually very funny. Like, I actually do find his conservative man persona. See, next we have Jimmy Dore, who's basically the Alex Jones of the left. He's a very kind of populist conspiracy theory kind of guy. It's funny because he actually spat on Alex Jones at the RNC.
He has a huge problem with
And
this,
then
which is
later on,
funny.
he became friends with Alex Jones. Interesting how that happens. He's one of these people who's trying to create like a left-right populist unity. And I'm not really a big fan of that idea, because what he really seems to be doing is just validating all the opinions of the right-wing lunatics and agreeing with a lot of them.
True.
And then he will, implicitly have a left-wing populist message thrown in,
and
but
then spout Russian
it's
propaganda.
becoming increasingly hard to find any like actual left-wing politics in the Jimmy Dore show.
Crazy.
It seems like he just has this
Is this
vague
like
sort of
a case
populism
study
that
now?
he's about.
Like, this is the average person, right?
Yeah.
This is like the average median person on how they engage with this content.
But like the
Before, it's like he
specific
didn't fall down any
socialist
pipelines.
No.
vision that he used to have on his show seems to have kind of fallen by the wayside, and I wonder how much of that is because he's kind of just trying to attract this audience of right-wingers to his show. It's very confusing. I think the first time I noticed there was something really weird going on with Jimmy Dore was when he interviewed Caleb Kane. And there was this big right-wing conspiracy theory at the time that Caleb Kane was a PSYOP plant. And
I think he should have just done full face
ridiculous.
paint.
There's no reason to believe that.
I agree.
But a lot of people just want to believe that.
Full quarter of his face, each color. I completely agree. If you're gonna do the bit, go the whole way.
Nobody
Stop
genuinely
eating
just
whatever
comes out of
candy
nowhere
you're eating Jolly Ranchers before shooting or something.
and attacks the alt-right. So it has to be some sort of a psyop. I mean, it can't just be that New York Times and all these other outlets latched onto this kid because it seems fair. Next, we have J.J. McCullough. Now, J.J. McCullough doesn't really make a lot of overtly political news-based videos. He's not much of a pundit
He goes on a
YouTube.
rant about how other
But-
people don't like JJ because he says about instead of about, and because he's in like part of Canada where they don't talk like that, and that like other Canadians say that JJ's faking it. It's really not that interesting.
Okay. Skip. But I do make fun of him for saying about every time he says it. I repeat it. It's hilarious. I did not know.
He's actually like JJ is like the only guy he can like actually analyze in this whole thing. That's why it's not funny. He's like, other people say this, and I guess I kind of agree with that.
Next, we have Kyle Kulinski, who I like. I'm going to put Kyle in A tier.
What is happening? What is actually
news-based pundits on YouTube. Kyle has this thing where he's like, he's so stuck in the 90s. And it's kind of charming in a very quaint way. Like, everything that he thinks is cool is what was cool back in the 90s. And so he has this very kind of tacky fashion sense, this kind of tacky sense of what's cool, but he has a very likable and charming personality to go with it, so it becomes very endearing. And another thing about Kyle is that he basically, the only thing he knows about is politics. Anything else, he's like a total ignorant.
Yeah, and he doesn't even know much about that.
Watching his podcast that he does with his friend Corin, because it's these two guys like trying to stumble their way through explaining things in the world that aren't political, and just hearing them talk, it just reveals so much about how little they really know.
I'm bored.
He literally is saying how little they actually know about politics.
Yeah,
right.
Like so many people. You can play now. Thanks, YouTube.
Sargon of Akkad is also a really funny one. Shouldn't have skipped. You should have let him cook on Kyle Kulinski.
It's broken. Stream's
Just
over.
like,
There we go.
I'm interested in politics.
See, you just threatened to end the stream and it continues. Fuck you, YouTube.
I know about politics and like nothing else. Next, we have Sargon of Akkad. Now, I like Sargon of Akkad. I was a fan of his videos back in 2015 or so. Looking back, I think a lot of them don't hold up very well, but I think his personality shines through anyway. What Sargon?
Like his opinion on food? Fucking awful opinions. British ass fucking opinions.
Did we release that video? That might be still cooking. It might need to be like looked at. I know that I've cut it because we I don't know. I know there's other stuff we made from that food video.
Really had back in those days was an everyman appeal. He was a guy. He just felt like a normal guy, just a normal guy who was looking at the world and saying, "This doesn't make sense. This is stupid. I'm going to point this out." And he did it in a very relatable way, in a very charming way. And he had a certain humility about him and a certain earnestness and a certain eagerness to learn about things like history and philosophy. As someone who's also interested in history, his kind of history fascination with the whole Mesopotamian gimmick, it really appealed to me. It really inspired me. I really enjoyed his stuff. And, he was a bit nerdy. Like, he was into gaming. He was a gamer. And so, he could relate to people on that level. But I feel like in the last several years, like in the last 5 or 6 years, Sargon.
We gotta show Dreg this. We gotta get this to Dreg.
Like...
Dreg, we need to get Dreg to sit through this fucking video and like out of character and just witness it.
What'd be even funnier is him sitting down doing the same list in a direct satire of Now that would be funny. Same thing, but more elaborate face paint, right?
Yeah.
A more elaborate outfit with the same colors, a more ridiculous background with like Mein Kampf and shit in the bookshelf. Out of focus the entire video. We should just clip this bit and tag the shit out of him in it on Twitter, and maybe it'll happen.
He's kind of put himself on a pedestal and sort of exited the world of the everyman appeal. And he's also drifted a lot farther right. Like, he wasn't really right wing at the beginning. He was, very critical of feminism, obviously, but he wasn't a right winger. He seemed like a pretty average kind of social liberal guy. Like, I think I remember him making a video in the 2015 election about how, like, the Conservative Party is not your friend. Don't vote Conservative. Mm-hmm. And I definitely remember him.
And then he joined UKIP.
Making a video defending
the socialism you're identifying as National Socialism, sir.
Wage or raising the minimum wage. And he went through, like, all of these statistics about, like, this is what
he does have a very romanticized history of his country.
an average person living in the UK needs to live on every month. Why can't we give this to people? And when Kevin Logan used to call him conservative back in the day, he laughed at it. He thought it was laughably ridiculous. And it kind of was back then because he really didn't seem like a conservative. He really just seemed...
I'm bored of this now.
But I like him. Steven Crowder.
What did he rank?
Like, lovely voice. Maybe not as much as I used to, but I like him. Steve, I'm going to put him in B tier. I like him. Maybe not as much as I used to, but
he was a pillar of like political internet for like 5 years. He's also an S tier, like Blair White. What are you doing, my guy? You got to base it on something.
He fell off.
He did fall off.
Now he just does a fucking podcast where he whines about food.
But I like him. Steven Crowder. And I think we're going to need another tier. Let's add a row below. We'll make it green. And we'll call it
a doofus.
F. That is where we'll put Steven Crowder. Next, we have
You are
Stefan
garbage.
Molyneux.
Okay, if you get a rise out of attacking the powerless, you're garbage.
Stefan Molyneux. Total fucking psycho. We're putting him in D.
Total fucking
psycho. Stefan
Hi,
Molyneux.
everybody.
I cannot
Actual
believe anybody
Nazi
likes this
here.
guy. Vaush. I'm putting him in A tier.
If I could, if there's
D,
one
because
person
he never listens
I would
to
want
us.
to like, yeah, if like that, like I would love to torture Drag by showing him certain videos.
It would be quite funny.
Because I do like his videos. I do find him entertaining. I do generally like him, but God, is he a pompous dick. I mean, he challenges you not to like him. I mean, he really like dares you not to like him.
He's like legitimate ethno-state eugenics white nationalist neo-Nazi type. He's a fucking crazy psycho. Stefan Molyneux.
Yeah, he's talking about Vaush.
Oh, is he? Oh, he's moved on. I thought he was still talking about Stefan Molyneux.
Like him. Like, this guy does not want to be liked. But because I have a soft spot for people like that, you know, I just...
But that is true though, right? He doesn't give a shit if
soft
people
spot
like
in my
him.
head because I banged it too many times. Is what he means.
But it's true though. He doesn't really appear to give a shit about being liked. It's an admirable quality.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I generally think I agree with his politics, but there is also a lot of stuff I don't agree with him on. Like, I'm not an anarchist for one, but he was a very influential person on me. He was one of the people who was most effective at making me interested.
Why
in
is Kraut in
socialism.
S?
But yeah, man, he is such a debate bro.
The
He has
fuck is happening?
ultimate debate bro energy, and it's kind of cringe. But at the same time, he's pretty good at it, and he makes a lot of sense.
He needs a tan so his teeth look less yellow.
They're green.
Based on the things that I've said, it's kind of weird that I'm putting him in A tier, but that's honestly where I would put him. I do think that he's like, I like him more than any of these guys in B tier. I like him about as much as I like Kyle Kulinski. Next, we have Shoe on Head. Now, the question with Shoe on Head that's on everyone's mind is, do I simp for Shoe on Head?
Yes.
And the answer is yes, 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 1,000 times. Yes, I simp for Shoe on Head.
You can smell it. You just know. You just know. But S tier.
Unashamed simp for this woman. She's beautiful, but
she's never going to talk to you.
More than that, she's hilarious. She's a great comedian. Her writing is so fucking good lately, and it was always pretty good. I mean, she was always really funny, but man, lately she's getting.
Look, bro, you already told us your source.
Not the best source.
So,
she's getting so good. She's kind of like that.
Oh my god.
Here. Next, we have The Amazing Atheist. He goes in S tier, obviously.
Seriously?
Like, if you know anything about me, you know The Amazing Atheist is one of the most influential people on me. And, you know, definitely my favorite YouTuber. His videos are nowhere near as good as they used to be, but I will always have a soft spot for him. He will always be important to me. S tier by far. I mean, one of the best. He has one of the best libraries of content out there. Next, we have No Fuckers. He's more of like, he was in the commentary community.
Have you ever watched this guy's channel?
Who?
The guy he's talking about.
Sorry, I've been making a meme, so I didn't know who he meant.
This guy here.
Who is it? The friendly neighborhood Russian?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a few of his videos. He's fine.
I think that's him. But they're not bad. They're not awful. They're fine.
Around 2016, he was with people like Pyrocynical. He was in that crowd, but then he slowly kind of become more political, and really it's just because Russia has gotten more political. It's gotten a lot less liberal.
Yeah, he's had to fucking defend himself against psychos while also trying not to get assassinated by the state. I imagine.
And though it was never really all
being a publicly, outwardly anti-Putin Russian is probably not the safest occupation.
That liberal to begin with. And because of that, it's kind of motivated him to talk more about Russian politics, talk more about former Soviet Union politics. And he does a really great job at it. And he's, one of the most accessible voices for that kind of thing that you don't really see a whole lot of in our culture. And so I think people really value and appreciate his liberal Russian perspective on politics. And
all right, let's jump to 5 more. Who do we want to see?
Well, hang on. I want to finish the meme I'm making first. So
for that, I'll put him in A tier. Next, we have Michael Knowles, who I'm just going to bring up the elephant in the room. He sets off my gaydar. He has this closet gay man thing about him. He gives those vibes. And he also, he was in student films in college where he played gay characters, more than one, I think. So it seems like there's
I'm not gay no more. I am delivered.
Didn't you know?
But he's a Daily Wire guy. He works for Ben Shapiro. When I first saw him, I remember thinking, wow, this guy is really dumb. And I didn't mean it like I did disagree.
Well, man, he's Russian. What do you expect?
Agree with him, so I'm calling him dumb. It's just, no, he really just struck me as like, oh, this guy, this guy's working for the Daily Wire?
Yeah, Michael Knowles is dumb. We know this. Let's see what he says about Matt Walsh.
And speaking of Matt Walsh, he's next. I kind of feel the same way about him. He does strike me as a little bit more intelligent than Michael Knowles. He also strikes me as a heterosexual. But he does kind of the same thing as Michael Knowles, just maybe in a slightly more refined way.
He really seems to hate women. So I don't know. Also, that beard, it's pretty gay.
Make a lot of bad, fallacious arguments, kind of like Ben does. But he doesn't really focus on anything other than social issues. And he does.
I'm pretty sure that actually came out.
What?
Does it from a very kind of Christian perspective.
Yes. Yeah, he's like defended child marriage and shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's come out. I'm pretty sure that's already a thing. It's established, which not surprised.
But he's just not all that interesting when you get down to it. Next, we have Alex Jones. I don't know if I like Alex Jones.
I don't care.
Next, we have Tim Pool, also known as Dim Tool or Dim Fool. He goes in D tier. He sucks. He's kind of like a way, 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 way smarter version of Dave Rubin. Just an obvious grifter. Like, I'm a moderate liberal. Even though
100 times 0 is still 0. That's why he's in the same tier.
Says nothing liberal ever. Or if he is calling himself a liberal, it's like a clear deception because he's like calling himself an old.
He's removed it from his bio now. He's no longer a liberal.
Yeah.
School 19th century liberal or some shit. which is not what people mean in America when they call themselves liberal. Basically, he's a conservative who just for some reason is allergic to that word. And I say for some reason, but I know the reason. It's because he's playing the grift.
It's because he's a fascist.
Because he knows that conservatives love when someone outside of their designated group validates their opinions. So they love it when a liberal validates their opinions. They love it when a gay person validates their opinions.
Here we go.
Next, we have Nick Fuentes, who, okay, I'm just going to get it out of the way.
Pause.
A tier.
You fucking moron.
You ready for this meme I made?
Oh my God. Oh my God. If I could play the audio while this was on screen, that would be amazing.
I colored his teeth green. I just like used little square elements and opacity on it.
That's so funny.
A tier for Nick Fuentes.
Bro.
We have Jews.
Bro.
They referenced the Protocols of Elder Zion. I mean, I wrote that book. That's a great book.
Bro. My God. My man. Holy shit.
Hitler wasn't fucking bad because he was fucking killing Jews. Okay? That wasn't the main problem with Hitler, I think.
Nick Fuentes
that was
like great.
Maybe 8th down the line.
I know that some of you might think that's absurd that I like Nick Fuentes enough to put him in A tier next to all of these other yahoos. He's a super far right kind of. I mean, he's kind of everything that JF is, except he's not a libertarian. He's a
Nazi,
an authoritarian.
Nazi.
He believes in like monarchy.
Say the word. Here, I'll help you out. Are you ready?
And,
hold on.
An authoritarian. He believes in.
Hi, everybody. Actual Nazi here.
Oh my God!
Look, there you go. How fucking easy was it?
I told you this video was nuts. Is this like the most wild?
Oh my God! Insane.
Monarchy, and he's basically a fascist. But
yeah,
man,
he did it. He did it.
Shit, that was so painful. Why did it take you so long?
Word charisma about him, like his laugh. He has a great sense of humor. He is always.
What do you mean? His laugh.
Why are you gay? Why are you gay? Why are you gay?
Do you know about Cum Hunter?
What?
You ever see Nick Fuentes get in a fight? He got in a fight and he has like the tall ass boots.
No.
So he got called a cum hunter and then started trying to fight the other guy. And the reason why he was called a cum hunter is because he suspected the guy of having sex and was looking around his room with a black light. He literally was being a cum hunter.
Oh my God. That's pretty much exactly what I would expect from him.
I don't know who Jack Horner is.
Laughing at?
No, I mean from Nick Fuentes.
No, somebody said you need a Jack Horner soundbite. I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is either.
Send the link.
He always seems to kind of be enjoying life. And he's also pretty intelligent and good at debating. Like he holds his own against Destiny. In fact, Destiny and Nick.
Wow. What a standard to hold up to.
Destiny. Oh, don't worry. We'll look at Destiny's debates here too.
Have this sort of thing together. It's a chemistry.
Yeah, they ate peanut butter sandwiches
chemistry
together.
with each other, and I just love seeing them talk to each other because something tells me that they're kind of similar, even though their politics are on opposite sides of.
You wanted to watch the Hassan watching Destiny and Shapiro, yeah?
Oh yeah, that will be like the last thing.
Okay,
but Nick Fuentes.
We also have to look at Kyle Kulinski.
As radical as he is, he might be my favorite.
Okay, well we can watch that next. Then we'll do.
There's also the ICJ stuff.
The ICJ, yeah. So we'll do The Vaush thing, ICJ, and then finish on the Hassan one.
Favorite right-wing pundit, because he just doesn't care what people think. He's willing to get banned from every bank in America and have to use cryptocurrency. He's willing to be on the no-fly list.
Oh yeah, I bet he loves that. I bet that makes his life so convenient, and I reckon he is so happy with his choices. But he definitely can't not double down because it's literally how he gets his money. Yeah, it's definitely not a self-created trap of bullshit that he's gotten himself into and now he can't get out of. Even if he wasn't a complete piece of shit. That's definitely not what it is. No. Now he's always going to be known as that Nazi guy next to the guy that got punched.
And obviously these things have, been difficult for him, but he's willing to just stand by his opinion.
Why are you gay?
And also he's like a few months older than me. He's my age. And it's just so weird to see someone my age become such an important figure. Like, he's almost like, is there anyone in the far right in America?
Bro, just message him and suck his dick. Holy shit. He's a Nazi. He'll be gay. He'll let you do it. Like, holy shit, they're all gay. Like, what are you talking about? Just message him.
I mean, even Kanye's getting pegged.
He'll respond. Only like 5 people message him, I swear to God. He's that much of a fucking loser.
Next, we have Sam Cedar. I'm going to put Sam Cedar in A also.
This is so confusing.
I don't know. He's kind of an unlikely favorite for me because at first glance, it seems like he doesn't really have a whole lot going on.
Confused.
But I like the fact that he dunks on other YouTubers. I like the fact that he dunks on Dave Rubin and Tim Pool all the time. I enjoy that kind of content. And he also is very willing to engage in debates. And even though I don't really agree or like the debate format, I do like that about him, that he's very confident. But I guess another thing that really drew me to him is the fact that every conservative seems to be so afraid of him. Like Steven Crowder was petrified by Sam Cedar. He really did not want to debate Sam Cedar, and he
only debates.
There's like a joke that Sam Cedar is the reason Steven Crowder's marriage ended. Because that debate, like the footage that came out of him abusing his wife, was days after he debated Sam Cedar. And ran away.
That is convenient. How interesting. Maybe it was Ethan.
Failed on a debate when he was ambushed by Sam Cedar, which was
ended Dave Rubin's marriage. And he's being ironic, joking, obviously, but it's still funny.
Really weird. And the same thing with Dennis Prager. Dennis Prager didn't want to debate him. It's like, what is it about Sam Cedar that makes people so afraid?
Because conservatives only debate children.
They're just like, I don't know,
because as soon as you put any of their ideas to fire, it melts.
He's not like super rude.
Prager. Do you know what he did?
No.
So some caller gets on the line with Prager through his agent. Says his name is Ron and what his issue is. And then he calls into the Majority Report and puts Sam on the phone. And he said, "Oh, my name's Ron." And he's like, "Yep, Ronald Reagan." And so like Dennis Prager doesn't know he's talking to Sam Cedar.
Oh my God. That's very funny. And is that just because he's trolling him because he keeps running from him?
It's so funny. But it's
like
all audio. Like
over
the phone.
Yeah.
On his radio show. And he keeps cutting to break because Sam Cedar corners him in a debate.
Yeah. All right. ContraPoints, Jesse Lee Peterson, Joe Rogan, then we'll go to the next one.
I never really got into her videos. I never really jived with the whole bread tube style, the whole sort of like passive, aloof, kind of like the vestigial remnants of the rant genre.
Yeah, that's because you like fascists. We've established
this. He also likes bread tube.
Getting watered down and turned into some like pseudo academic bullshit. I don't know, and like very overproduced with a lot of fluff.
Oh, you mean like this 54-minute video ranking people?
No,
with
ContraPoints
zero
is
charisma.
so overproduced.
That doesn't matter. If that's what you want to do, so be it.
A lot of style over substance. There's a lot of things I don't really dig about this kind of genre video, but I do think that ContraPoints pulls it off pretty well. I'm going to put her in B tier.
That's fair.
I do think her videos are pretty entertaining for this genre, and she kind of has like a YMS Adam from YMS energy to her. I don't know if anyone else notices this, but that's kind of who she reminds me of, and I really like him. Next, we have Jesse Lee Peterson,
the best, the GOAT.
Correct.
Yes.
Enough said.
That is amazing.
Paul Joseph Watson. Never liked
Oh
him.
my God.
Never
She's the greatest tier list of all time.
Never liked conspicuous interest. Will agree with whatever the person next to him says. But at the same time, he does seem to have a genuineness to him. He does so out of genuine skepticism of his own, certainty, rather than out of like just
guy's struggling to come
out of the Dave Rubin thing where he has nothing going on in his head. He does think about stuff, and he does challenge his guests when they say something absolutely stupid.
Does he though?
Like, for instance, when Dave Rubin was on his show and he tried to argue that we don't need building codes, and Joe was just like, no, we need building codes. We need some things like building codes. You're not, no. So I like.
Okay, we get it. Hassan. Well, one more.
Hassan.
And then finally we have Hassan Piker. I'll put him in D tier. He's
Correct.
the only lefty who I'm putting in D tier, and that's because he is
awful,
the absolute worst of the left.
True.
I mean, he represents everything wrong with the left. Just total lack of critical thinking, blind support of whatever bullshit left-wing position, blind support of the CCP, blind support of Palestine and Hamas for some reason, even though they're like a far-right extremist party. Just total garbage. And he has this thing, I think Vaush has a little bit of it, but he has a lot of it, where I feel like he started out doing this kind of lazy, like, I don't care energy as like kind of a gag. Like, look at me.
Wasn't a gag. He's a nepo baby.
That's great.
Me, I don't give a shit. I'm eating on camera. I'm leaving the room while the video's playing.
Yeah.
But it slowly just became who he is. And I don't know if that theory is true. It might have just been who he was from the beginning, but it seems like how can you bring yourself to put so little effort into your content, to be so boring, to just have nothing worthwhile? And I guess for that, he's a good match with Ethan Klein, because Ethan Klein also kind of fell into that trap.
It's so funny
because if you look at Ethan's early H3
podcast, the hardest working out of like all those people.
Yeah.
Like, his show is so produced, it's insane. They did have you seen the plastic surgeon that's been like cutting people's faces off and like stretching them out? Real shitty. He fucking has a whole bit on his show today where they filmed an entire thing where he fucking like put like putty all over his face, like he got his like face all fucked up from this plastic surgeon.
Podcasts, he did put effort into them. He was present. He was at the table. He was sitting up straight. He was talking. But then slowly he started to slouch more and more into his chair. And
this dude hasn't watched H3.
I don't know. He just lost his...
Speaking of when it was like purple, you know, and like when everyone was doing the same type of podcast where it's just like different comedians. You know, like podcasting was in where everyone just had the same guest over and over, and it just right. That's like the early shit.
Yeah. That's when I stopped watching. Was around like the Trisha times.
Dude, it's like the like not every episode is a banger, but like they really put like so much effort into the show. Like fucking I'm trying to think. So there this whole meme with Ninja getting like so the meme is like this guy's like a freestyle guy and he comes into it, it's like and he starts singing like Imagine If Ninja Got a Low Cut Fade, right? But
yeah.
Zach, the guy who's the audio engineer, literally made his own version where it's what if Ethan got one, and then they have like the guy who used to cut hair on the Jersey Shore come in and start giving Ethan a haircut while they burn Stanley mugs to see if they'll melt on a grill. Like that's like a lot of thought process going on.
Yeah.
Like knowing that the haircut would be so boring that they also would cut to a grill with Stanley cups burning.
Yeah, it's preempting, knowing exactly.
You tied me down and played Ethan's socialism debate against Hassan.
Spark, and it seems like at first he did that as a gag, like, oh, look at me, how much I don't care. But then it just
like
became
the prep he
his
did
habit.
to debate Hassan when it was the end of Leftovers, and he just realized how dumb Hassan was. And like it was like being like, I'm gonna own him every day on this show now. Like I mean, like he did so much prep for those debates to debate Hassan.
Yeah,
Hassan, and he's just a dick too. Like Hassan is just so mean to people. Like I've never seen someone.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
Just character assassination. Just doesn't care about good discourse. Doesn't care about like having an actual argument. Is just all about beating other people down, shouting other people down.
Walks away while the video's playing.
But yeah, that's my.
So let's switch gears a little bit here. I'm curious, did you watch the Destiny and Ben Shapiro debate?
I only saw the end of it where they talked about monogamy versus non-monogamy, I'm afraid.
Could be louder.
I can't stand Lex Friedman, so I didn't want to get too far into it.
Well, he says like 3 words the entire time, so he kind of like
looking at him. You know.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask what your thoughts on it were, but I'll just give everybody mine since I watched more of it. I was half asleep, but I tried to digest more of it. So I thought that on certain issues,
so much effort
like
in, bro.
Trump versus Biden, I think Destiny did a really great job when talking about January 6th. I think he did a really great job. They were having a debate around like schooling and the social safety net. I think he did a great job. But I was actually surprised that there were a certain number of issues where I think there was like way too much agreement. I think Israel was actually one of them. He disagreed around the edges. He brings up like this illegal settlers in the West Bank and how he's against that. But it wasn't nearly as much of a debate as I kind of thought it would be. So you should definitely check it out. I'm actually surprised you haven't covered it on your channel yet.
Oh yeah, well, it was such a long conversation, and
Nobody's
I was
listening to the
wondering
video
about the
now.
extent to which they would disagree as well. I haven't seen a lot of Destiny's positions, but I catch whispers in the wind of him having said some like very chauvinistic, like pro-Israel stuff or pro-genocide stuff or whatever. I don't know where he would lean in terms of debating it. I think that when it comes to conversations like that, though, as time has gone on, the appetite for debate has shifted a lot since, I don't know, 2017, 18 or whatever. The environment has changed. Ben Shapiro barely does debates anymore, and now they feel like much more of a novelty than a cornerstone of.
That's because debates are stupid. Debates do nothing. They are the worst form of communication. Political communication is a debate. Never debate people. If anybody's like, oh, debate me, tell them to fuck off.
Political engagement online. And I wonder if, especially with people like Lex Friedman, right? That guy is very civility pilled, like let's all have a cup of tea and discuss whether or not trans people deserve to be killed or something. Very, very like sort of morally detached from the subject being engaged. I wonder if that environment is always going to be a kind of placating force on conversations as severe as like what's going on in the Gaza Strip, It's like you know what I mean, right? It's kind of like a liberal civility politics thing, but it's not even liberal necessarily. It's very institutional. I haven't seen the whole thing, so that's just a feeling that I have from a kind of instinctual vibe check. My gut drives me to this.
Yeah, I would honestly say it was more of a discussion than a debate. There were definitely points of disagreement, but it felt a little bit more like almost like a Rogan-esque discussion than it was a debate. And I'd be curious to know what they felt like going into it, what it would be like. I wonder if like Ben and Destiny thought like, no, we're going to be debating, or if they thought like, hey, maybe we'll find like 72% agreement on the various issues.
I find it really difficult to do a proper debate when there's even a moderator, because Ben Shapiro is I don't think he's stupid. Like, he can talk fast, but his arguments are very stupid. Like in a sensible environment, like you would be shouting at Ben Shapiro. Like he'll try.
It's crazy how these two are talking. Remember how Kyle was just whining that Vaush called him a Nazi?
Yes.
Has that been addressed?
Maybe not. It is talking about his feuds, maybe. It's not segmented.
Try to talk over you, you talk over him louder. That's the essence of debate. Scream at each other, arm wrestle, who cares? Lex Friedman, you know, it's you sit down at the good boy table, everyone be nice. I guess there's just a limit to how far you can go in an environment like that. I think Destiny recently debated Alex Jones and some other people.
Yes, I actually watched that. Did you watch that?
I saw parts of it. That was like that. Now that's an environment that cultivates good discursive spirit. You know, that's a good debate environment, I feel.
Yeah. So
with
in
the
my
shouting.
opinion, he actually did better in that. And again, I'd be curious to know what he thinks, like how he did in each respective debate. But in my opinion, there was much more clear disagreement and differentiation in that debate. And really, honestly, what I would have liked to seen, I don't know if you saw the whole thing or not, but it would have been good to have just Destiny versus Glenn Greenwald. And I think they're actually somebody's making that happen. There was somebody tweeted about how that's going to happen shortly, but Alex Jones just ruined the whole fucking thing. I mean, he's in there. He's a total idiot. He makes horrendously stupid points. He's loud.
Good job, Alex.
He's probably like high as balls on cocaine or whatever.
You know what? I support Alex Jones being the fucking chaos agent in debates. Fuck debates. Fucking waste of time. Get more Alex Jones in debates. Get more Vivek Ramaswamy's in fucking debates. Chaos agents, baby. Fuck debates.
Whatever the fuck he's on, Lord only knows. And it's like every 14 minutes, Destiny would come in and say something smart, and then Glenn would say something interesting in response to it. And actually, to my surprise, the Krasenstein bros were not bad. I was kind of amazed by that, because I view them as sort of these like meme people, like who don't really like know anything or care, but they actually did a half decent job too.
I like the Da Vinci twins, you know, just into politics. I agree. Yeah, it feels like debate is getting less and less interesting for me, at least personally, because the right is so out of this universe that it feels like a lot of points can't even be discussed. Because I remember back in 2019 when I started doing the YouTube thing. Even back then, Trump supporters would like earnestly debate the facts of the positions they held about immigration or the economy or whatever else. I'm not saying they were correct, but like they seemed to care. There was some degree of policy wonkery, right? They had their feet planted kind of firmly. Nowadays, it's.
I was hoping that someone had time coded the video so they could skip.
Is like the borderline least insane.
No, that's the thing. Is like there might be another clip where they actually addressed what he said to him, but like. Like, go to Kyle and Friend's show. See if there's a thing where it's like, Vaush addresses calling me anti-Semitic.
It feels like there's no ground anymore for reasonable discussion. Policy wonkery. Nobody wants to talk about the economy or what Trump actually did. It's all just like wokeism is infiltrating our schools. It's like that's the level of engagement now. In an environment like that, debate is more about, I don't know, shouting people down. You can make the points, but past a point, it's just like demonstrating strength, which is what they care about, of course. Ultimately, they care about being perceived as this like force of logic far more, I think, than they do about engaging with any real issue.
Yeah, so back in like 2015 and 2016, I had a very, very different approach when it came to Trump supporters, where, you know, you try to see the best. Hey, why do you feel the way you feel? Why do you like him? What is it about it? And then in some instances, you could pick out with some people, I don't know, they thought he was a little bit on trade with Hillary Clinton, who was in favor of all the outsourcing deals and all this stuff. But as time has gone by, now with Trump having...
They didn't address it at all.
No, I guess not.
Nobody even said, hey, didn't you milk an entire thing?
I guess they're just gonna ignore it. We'll skip through and we'll see what they're talking about. If YouTube wants to cooperate.
Nothing. I need to go subscribe to that guy, by the way.
You're the kind of like
that was because it was insane.
dissident, independent leaning, like we can all lean into this thing. A lot of people, I saw this interview in Politico literally yesterday. There are people who treat Donald Trump effectively as like a maverick third-party candidate, despite being the face of the GOP. And he does to an extent have that energy, because despite everyone in the GOP bowing to him, he doesn't feel like he's beholden to the GOP. He kind of feels like his own force. I mean, this is like the eternal cope, right? But I'll say it until I die. Like, Bernie would have done so much better on this. There are so many Trump supporters who would have looked at Bernie, and if nothing else, gone like, you know, he's very clearly not institutional DNC. A lot of them would call him a communist or whatever they call everyone that. But I think he could have won over a lot of those independents. And in the face of that now, it's just like, if you have even a little bit of distrust for the system, it feels like every institutional force is pulling you over to Trump, because the Democrats will be like, "What, you don't trust the system? What are you, a goddamn? What do you don't trust the system? You lose."
That one video, the tier list thing, got 2K views, but like all his videos are like only in like the hundreds.
Yeah.
This one is another one that's over a K. Just open this. Don't say anything. Put it on. Don't let people see the title, and let's see how long people put it together. You know.
I'll see what I can do.
Just like start it playing and then switch to it.
Okay.
Do you see the title?
What the fuck? Oh man.
Is that wild?
Hold on.
Nobody look. Spoilers.
A year ago called How to Understand Fascism, which got pretty positive reviews when it came out, and I think it still holds up. I think I did a pretty good job at explaining fascism so it could be understood, rather than simply abused and rendered as an insult, or a boogeyman to threaten other people with, or even a mental disorder or mass hysteria. I explained the importance of analyzing fascism sympathetically. I somewhat haphazardly and not entirely accurately laid out some ways fascism borrowed aspects of left-wing thought and strategy, and I got to the business of identifying what distinguishes fascism, which is a surprisingly controversial question. There's a whole book by the eugenicist intellectual A. James Gregor called Interpretations of Fascism, which is all about the fact that nobody can seem to agree on what defines it in the first place. So I put myself out there and offered my own theory, which is probably the thing in this video that I'm most proud of, because the military theory pretty much explains everything about the fascist mentality. Fascism is an effort to integrate the values of the military into the civilian sphere, and thus bring those two worlds closer together for a higher purpose of creating a strong and healthy nation. That's what it is at bare minimum. The fascist minimum, you could call it.
No.
This is fucking wild, dude.
YouTube hates this video.
I covered a lot of ground in this video, and I even offered some personal perspective on the topic, especially during the black and white section of the video where I talked a lot about nihilism. This video could have been called A Nihilist's Perspective on Fascism.
Is this the same guy?
Quote from the nihilist philosopher Emil Cioran, a fitting quote on the dangers of belief, taken from his book A Brief History of Decay. This quote is especially impressive given the fact that Cioran himself was a supporter of Corneliu Codreanu's Iron Guard, which could be considered the Romanian equivalent of fascism. Reflecting on it years later, he said it was the worst folly of my youth. If I am cured of one sickness, it is surely that one.
Jesus.
Cioran was a very pessimistic person, so I wouldn't expect him to go easy on his past self after undergoing a change of thought. However, his use of the word sickness does stand out to me because it conforms to an interpretation of fascism that I criticized in my video. The idea that fascism is no more than a mental...
By the way, guys, this video is called Why I Admire Fascism. You know the guy that I was saying was a Nazi that liked Nazis, that you guys were like, because he doesn't only like Nazis. I want apologies. All right, let's
Why
get back to
I still
Vaush.
hate SJWs in 2022. Okay.
Well, like you look at it and it's just like all you people have who still support him is just feelings. It's just emotions. It's just like, I don't know, he feels vaguely more authentic. And it's like,
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess it's about addressing the feelings at the end of the day. Most people, lib, Republican, whatever.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, the average voter in every country is politically incoherent,
Mr.
right? Like,
Girl,
all
here's a video on
politics-
Mr. Girl being banned. Uh-oh. People who know
This is
will
some insane
know.
things too. And most people can't do it to the extent that they like really know what's going on, I guess. People are following vibes for the most part. And the vibes that Republicans are following right now are like deeply cursed vibes. I guess the temptation is to beat them on the facts, which is easy because they're wrong.
I gotta
and
read
hard
the
thing to
title of
do
this
is to-
video real quick. Why I'm still vegan in 2023. Should we ban hate? Bionicle lore.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, that almost killed me for real
Wild.
that time.
Wild.
to look at where they're coming from and wonder what underlying emotional impulses are driving them to so readily believe things that are obviously empirically untrue. That could be like fact checked in a second, disproven. And once you can get at that, I don't know, maybe there's more truth to be bet in the middle. It's another one of my big criticisms of Biden, leaving aside anything policy related, right? Say that Biden was identical policy wise. The man just can't go up there and do a speech the way Trump can. Trump would go out there every day and say, again, total bullshit, but he projected a vision, an image of the future.
Yeah.
Biden occasionally does speeches, and they're not really special. He's nowhere near as charismatic as Obama.
He's got
So
a
even
video
compared to
called
Obama,
My
like,
TV
he's-
Show Pitch. I'm saving it to watch later.
Not, you know, a point to his favor, and there's not really a clear vision forward. If you ask a liberal in this country, like what is being done to make America better or make America great, the most they could do, I think, is rattle off some like minor, like institutional, incremental adjustments to this, that, the other, that like maybe they'll pass after they means test it into oblivion one day, and people just aren't sold on that. You ask a Donald Trump, and he'll just say whatever. He'll just be, yeah, we're gonna cure. I was about to say we're gonna cure cancer, but Biden was the one who said that. That was basically, you know, we're gonna go to the moon, Space Force. You know, we're gonna
be number one. Make
number
America great
one.
again. We're gonna be great. It's gonna be tremendous.
It's yeah, and unironically, like that's the level of like dumb optimism I think that you need to pull people along in an era where everyone's so hopeless, and Biden can't really do that because he's ancient and brittle and you know, moderate. So
This really just seems like nothing.
It is. Weren't you guys just arguing? Weren't you creating a beef because he called you anti-Semitic?
Wow, it's almost like it was done for views. So let's stop watching so their metrics die.
Dislike it. Press dislike.
I fucking will.
Yeah, and
Dude,
go back to the
unsubscribe
fascist
from it
tier list
too.
and give him a like because that video was better.
The concept is simple. It's a tier list with political YouTubers. Now, the
Okay.
Why was he so hesitant to fucking say that Nick
I have
Fuentes
no
was
idea.
fascist?
I have no idea. They are scared of the word.
He's not.
Satisfied.
No, but they don't like being called it even when they are it for whatever reason. It's strange.
That the provisional measures that we sought to be addressed would be addressed by the court. And I believe if you read the convention very carefully, the matter of how a war or conflict is conducted is not elaborated. I would have wanted that the word cessation is included in the judgment. I have no way that I'm going to say I'm disappointed. I hope for it, but the fact of delivering humanitarian aid, the fact of taking measures that reduce
Well, the wagging microphones is distracting
who
me.
have no role in what Israel is combating, for me, requires a ceasefire. And I believe Israel would have to attend to how it conducts its search for the hostages and for those Hamas individuals who carried out the October 7th attack.
What's the next step?
I've never really been hopeful about Israel, but Israel has very powerful friends who I hope will advise Israel that they should act.
Israel's commitment to international law is unwavering. Equally unwavering is our sacred commitment to continue to defend our country and defend our people.
Sure.
Like every country, Israel has an inherent right to defend itself.
Do you see when
The
he
vile
bends
attempt to
down,
deny
there's
is-
like horns on his forehead? You see that?
Israel, this fundamental right, is blatant discrimination against the Jewish state, and it was justly rejected. The charge of genocide leveled
Both
against
sides.
Israel
It's
is not
very
only false,
interesting how it's reported because both sides can claim victory on this.
Mm-hmm.
So, literally, so you of all people obviously know that the Convention on Genocide says it's up to the state to stop it,
Mm-hmm.
not an international body.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's what they ruled. Israel needs to prevent genocide.
Awesome. Great. What a ruling. How effective and fucking useful you are. Fucking waste of space.
There is going to be
It's outrageous. And
like propel it to a further trial, though. I think.
Okay.
Decent people everywhere should reject.
Like they're going to evaluate
our
if
war is
Israel
against Hamas terrorists.
stopped. They said you need to stop acts of genocide, basically meaning that there is genocide taking place, right?
Yeah.
So then I think the next trial is going to be like, has
Did they
Israel
stop
stopped these acts of genocide?
Yeah.
So they're
And if
essentially
they haven't
forcing
stopped.
it. They're essentially should be forcing an end to the war, but
Mm-hmm.
Israel is famous for not caring about these rulings at all. So.
Okay. And what
Also, Israel
happens?
has done an end proposal. They just released it, and I think it's kind of like ironic because it's literally what they had before. So they're just extending the no man's land, and they're going to put turrets and landmines around the wall now.
Awesome.
They're
Right.
going to make a super deluxe wall. Like if they just like were like, oh, we should probably guard this wall to make sure it doesn't happen again, and then just like slowly built reinforcements with like posts on the wall, they wouldn't even need to do all of this.
Yeah.
They could have just done this solution to begin with, where they just build the wall more.
Yeah, I mean, why not reinforce the prison walls you're already keeping them in?
Yeah,
make
it's
it more
literally
like North
nothing.
Korea?
It's literally nothing.
Yeah.
So it's like all these people died for nothing because nothing actually changes.
Of course. Did you expect anything else?
It's the lights. That's what it is. So he's lit by a standard 3-point light, which is like a studio light that we use. But his forehead's just really shiny, so he's getting the spot and fill light on each side. That's why they're slightly different, because they're two different lights doing two different things. One's filling shadows, one's creating them.
Not against Palestinian civilians. We will continue to facilitate humanitarian assistance and to do our utmost to keep civilians out of harm's way, even as Hamas uses civilians as human shields.
Oh yeah, is that by dropping a non-armed bomb before you drop a real bomb on them? Yeah, how generous of you, you fucking psychopath.
Shooting your own hostages?
Yeah, very cool. So cool. Yeah, demolishing all of northern Gaza. Awesome. Very cool. You know, for what?
Nothing.
Maybe if you stopped fucking doing what you're doing to them, this wouldn't happen. But you know, you're not going to listen to that because you're always the victim, aren't you? You pull your guy, you pull your thing. You actually have consequences. Why are you kicking
just enough that it's not genocide.
We will continue to do what is necessary to defend our country and
Genocide.
defend our people.
Genocidal.
Pretty much all it is.
Yeah.
There might be coverage of
everybody, and I do want to take you back out to this video from a little bit earlier. This is over in the Netherlands. As we are following the breaking news here, the World Court will not throw out genocide charges against Israel for its military offensive in Gaza, but also will not order a ceasefire. Announcing its decision on the eve of International Holocaust Remembrance Day, the International Court of Justice, which you saw in that video, did demand that Israel try to contain death and damage in its military offensive. That decision comes after South Africa asked the court to order Israel to halt its operations claiming genocide. The decision in the Netherlands by the 17 judges is considered to be an interim one, and it could take years for the full case brought by South Africa to be considered. Israel has rejected those genocide allegations, and it asked the court to throw out the charges, which, as you heard there, the court did refuse to do. We did hear from Prime Minister Netanyahu in a quick minute statement that he did put out just a short time ago. I do want to play that for you here, raw and unfiltered, on Live Now from Fox.
Already heard it.
Israel's commitment to international law is unwavering.
Okay.
Yeah, sure it is, buddy.
Yeah, that's all it is. Okay.
Let's see if they actually laid out what there is like 4 points that they demanded.
Here we go. This one might be different. France 24.
Yeah, if it look at see if it's got the 4
Let's move on to Cape Town now. South Africa being the country that brought the
We'll see. Yep, this is different.
case against Israel to the International Court of Justice. France 24's Eunice Mason joining me now. What is the reaction like in South Africa to this verdict?
Yes, the reaction in South Africa has been overwhelming. The country's foreign minister, Naledi Pandor, welcomed the judgment and described it as a landmark ruling. She addressed the media outside the World Court after the ruling. And although the court, I heard that from The Hague that, although the court did not rule for an immediate ceasefire.
Probably some genocidal shit.
Gaza, Pandor said that if Israel complied with the court order, it would mean a ceasefire. She also reiterated that Hamas should release all Israeli hostages. On another level, the ANC's National Executive Committee also welcomed the judgment, and President Cyril Ramaphosa will address the nation later this afternoon. Now, we know that this order does not mean that Israel will comply and implement the order, but it hopes that political pressure might lead to successful negotiations.
Successful? You gotta get the successful ones.
That's what he said. What do you think?
Oh, cool. Put him in it. See what he says then.
I thought it was funny.
Fucking dickhead.
Calling them schmegma.
Two-state solution.
Thank you so much, Eunice Mason, for joining
Yeah,
us.
so
Answering our
Washington
questions
is kind of forcing a two-state solution here, and Israel told
Yeah.
them to fuck off. There's a
Yeah,
lot,
yeah.
like a lot of shit is lining up for a lot of pressure on Israel that I think we will actually see a conclusion shortly.
Yeah.
And it will be nothing. It will be back to status quo. That's all that's going to happen.
All right, we're gonna have to pull from
Which could be a lot worse. You know.
Yeah.
Hey, don't flip your house over.
Communists and assassinated them, such as Eduardo
Shit. Fuck this YouTube fucking
what?
Just the fucking throttling bullshit.
Communists and assassinated.
Like, fuck off. We're gonna have to pull from Twitch now.
Oh yeah. Can't show Destiny, bro.
Yeah. If you're on Twitch, come to YouTube because
I don't even know if you can end it on Twitch.
Yeah, you just say remove, I think.
Oh, okay. We'll try that. We'll see what happens. Let me see if it works.
So if you're on Twitch, goodbye. Come to YouTube, please. If you want to continue. Thanks for tuning in. Did you do it?
It's removing now. It's removed.
Yep. Okay, great.
I'll see if it ends.
Ben's not very intelligent.
Yep.
And neither is Destiny. Neoliberalism just simply gave more breathing room for a more reformed fascist administration.
What does he think fascism is or means? What is fascism to him? I'm asking these facetiously, fascistically, because to him, fascism is just not communist or not socialist. All liberalism is fascism.
Nazis might have lost World War II, but fascism won is definitely a prescient take when you consider.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but that's the Indians are weird about Israel. It's so strange. There's like weird posts of them making like stars of David with their hands
with
and
the
shit.
lion.
Oh, dude, it's so weird.
You see
India is
the
such a
fucking
strange
alt
country.
meme I made of that?
I think so.
Because like the Seychelles like were aligned with the U.S. for
Yeah.
like the operation.
Yeah, I did say that. Yeah, I did say that.
You can literally see it says Israel underneath it, and there's totally a flag here.
Won because the Soviets didn't win. That's literally it. I guess in his mind, it was the world was communism versus fascism, and fascism won.
The UK is in NATO and are the most anti-Nazi of them all, country of them all.
And then it's like the fake laugh after doing this whole soy rant where he like doesn't justify or give a single like true take or fact supporting any of his opinion, and now he's gonna laugh like the guy just did the most ridiculous thing in the world.
I'm sorry, what? So if Destiny said sorry, you'd be cool with that?
Destiny, it's
Right
time.
political spectrum.
Oh, what? It's just on molding about me for like 5 hours. What is even the point?
Oh my god. Hurry the fuck up.
Even DGGers admit that Destiny, when it comes to me, has a soft spot where he just can't
Reacception,
control his
here we
emotions
go.
and loses his mind. They even fantasize about me doing the same thing to him.
Bro, I have been so soft. I think there's been like 1 or 2 times ever where I've been like quote unquote bad faith about Hassan, you know, women in that brothel that eventually got busted for trafficking people or whatever.
Okay, ruling. Do we skip him? Do we care?
No, this is the end thing, right?
Yeah, but like how much do we care about what
It's you hear what he's talking about? How Hassan is connected to sex trafficking? That's totally true.
Is that what he's saying?
Yeah.
Ever.
Sometimes.
Which isn't even, it's not even false. He did go to that brothel though, and he did women in there, I assume, if he went into a brothel. But like, he's bad faith against me always. It's not even close. I mean, like, I think I've done it like twice.
Too many
Destiny's
cam.
very bad
No,
faith when it comes to
you'll
debating people.
tolerate the
that he
re-exception.
truly wants
The
to like.
re-exception is the new meta. We invented it. Everyone else who does re-exceptions is copying us, and we're gonna sue them like Illuminati sued Legal Eagle.
Exactly.
Ritualistically humiliate, and by that I mean like people who really he really considers to be his like ideological opponents. And oftentimes it has nothing to do with ideology at all, and everything to do with like the vibes. Okay, that's it. He likes the thrill of the debate, I guess. Just like I like the thrill of the top of the hour ad break and debating you.
I always say this for Vaush and Hassan, you should challenge them because I know some of you fucking freaks are crossover viewers. I don't know how or why you would watch both of us.
I don't know why you would watch,
but yeah,
either of them.
Right?
That's the real point.
Yeah, whenever people bring this up, like, what are some examples? Of
Reaction
bad
stuff is
faith
getting out of
arguments?
hand. Who's reacting to you?
Like,
It's,
bring them up and make sure they actually show you the argument too, because sometimes
he does a song and it's literally just like him reacting to the reaction to the reaction to the reaction, and it's so good how packaged together it is. We got a triple react going, everyone.
just like misrepresent or lie about what I've actually said as well. You should make them
This
watch
is
the
peak
video.
content.
Peak.
What is that?
Get it yourself now.
I understand NATO sucks, but does it need to reform or should something replace it? I mean, I'm a bit of a truther, like Yanis Varoufakis, that the European Union could be reformed inevitably to like not churn out neoliberal capitalism. But Yanis Varoufakis, that the European Union could be reformed inevitably to like not churn out neoliberal capitalism, but instead, I guess, some semblance of socialism. But no, NATO is not a thing that it's like there isn't a necessity. Well, NATO is a little bit different than the police as well, because there's a need for, you know, some semblance of law.
He's not
and
even
order.
fucking paying
NATO,
attention.
on the other hand,
Who?
This is
Destiny?
as bad as Hassan.
I think he is. Let's see. Let's see if he had.
no, it is one use and one use only. You can't reform.
Which is to spread neoliberal capitalism at the behest of American imperialist colonialist policy.
True.
Like, guys, just don't Google Western German involvement in NATO.
Oh, is this what that one guy brought up?
You ready
Operation
for it?
Gladio.
Is that fucking awesome, bro?
The
Is that
operation
fucking
involved
awesome?
the use of
Immediately,
assassination,
Operation
psychological
Gladio
warfare,
is
and
what he
false flag
fucks up.
operations to-
How fucking funny is that? That's really all I wanted to show you, is how quick it got to Operation Gladio with the sun.
Jesus fucking.
Is that fucking awesome?
Every time.
Delegitimize left-wing parties in Western European countries, even went so far as to support anti-communist militias and right-wing terrorism as they tortured communists and assassinated them, such as Eduardo Mondlane in 1969. The United States Department of State rejected the view that they supported terrorists, maintains that the operation served only to resist a potential invasion of Western European countries by the Soviet Union. We very much are obsessed with like U.S. foreign policy during the Cold War, which was
yes, because history lessons. That's all they do.
probably bad. I'm hedging everything now because now I don't trust anything until I actually do the reading myself. But my current understanding is probably really aggressive, like pretty bad. But also keep in mind that we were also fighting against the Soviet Union, whose foreign policy was also really aggressive and really bad. So I mean, everybody was doing it.
Yeah, birth of the nation.
Yeah,
state,
reforming
my guy.
NATO is like reforming the Third Reich, which is a good take, actually, because lo and
Reforming
behold,
the Third Reich was a good take and soundbited. Don't
Like-
even need to edit it.
NATO being compared to the Third Reich is probably one of the dumbest things I've heard him say. That is unbelievably moronic.
a lot of the Third Reich guys may have made their way into NATO.
Guys, did you know America recruited Nazi scientists? This thing that everybody's known about since it fucking happened? Shut the fuck
Bro,
up.
wait till you hear about Operation Paperclip. I have another
Just saying.
really great gag video to show you here. Now, I just want you to look at this. I don't want to actually watch this video. I want you to bring it up and I want you to scroll through the time. time code, all right? Because this is a Young Turks video. It's called Tim Pool Cheers for Child Labor. Remember how Vaush put Tim Pool in the thumbnail and said the same thing? And then Tim Pool wasn't in it? Watch how often Tim Pool is in this fucking video. It's literally called Tim Pool Cheers.
Do you want it on the screen?
Yeah. Just pull it up so people can see that literally Tim Pool is not in this video whatsoever.
Right. Well, first of all, you didn't turn out great.
Okay. Scrolling. Here we are scrolling. Looking for Tim Pool. We are yet to find him.
Oh, there he was. I saw him.
What? Hey, there he is.
Him. What is that? Oh, it's just a picture of him.
Oh, it's not even him. They're talking over him.
They're using B-roll and how Tim Pool has supported this. Okay.
Scrolling. Looking for Tim Pool. He's not in the video at all.
Here, we can wrap on.
It's
that
like
I sent you.
I should leave a comment calling them shit too.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, I sent you the real wrap-up video.
I think that was a fair comment. What did I say? Thanks for the great soundbite.
It looks like Trump's former press secretary and longtime loyalist Kayleigh McEnany will join the long list of former administration officials now at odds with the former president. So first, here's what started it all.
Here's why I say this. This was actually a fairly good night for Joe Biden. When you look at our voter analysis, only 10% said, I would not vote for Joe Biden if he's the nominee.
Right,
he won a plurality of voters who said he was too old. He won a majority of voters who
looking
were upset.
looking great as per usual.
The divides in the Democrat Party, and this is a small sample size, but perhaps aren't as stark as one would think. But when you look at the Republican Party, 7 and 10, Nikki Haley.
They did what now?
Oh, yeah. Hilarious, right?
Amazing.
I said that they should just roll with it, saying that it was like, oh, these are deep fakes, these are fake, it's AI, and then sue them. Like, be like,
yeah.
First Taylor Swift, now us. Did you know what this happened with Taylor Swift?
No, I think so. It was like
So
the
it's
deep
like
fake face.
Yeah.
replacement, right?
But from like my knowledge, like they're like almost like, from what I've seen, like, because I've looked at coverage from it and like there was descriptions of it. It's not like it's like it's obviously pornographic, but it's not like there's like no nipples and no like genitalia. You know, it's like a Barbie doll naked of Taylor.
Okay.
And she's like, I don't know. They say there's one where she's like kneeling next to a urinal or something.
Voters said, I would not vote for Trump.
The one dude
There
who
was
took them to court, but not the people who created them.
Dude, there was only 30,000 votes between them. That's not that much.
Dude, it was a record turnout for New Hampshire. It was like game changer. That's why Nikki Haley shouldn't drop out.
Yeah.
And at this point, with Trump burning the bridge and stuff, anyone who's anti-Trump should be investing in her campaign to continue.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Because
You're
the longer
100%
she
correct.
stays in, the more it's hurting Trump, even if she's
Yeah.
losing the whole time.
Yeah, and if they realize that, they'll
Isn't
do
it
that.
bad to piss off the Qataris? Yes, that's why they're doing it. This is exactly why they're doing it.
Yeah.
Register poll, 43% said, no, I wouldn't vote for Trump. If I'm Trump, I sit back and I exclusively focus on the general election. I take the posture of a presumptive nominee. I focus on number one, uniting the party, and number two, winning the independents, which Nikki Haley won 55 to 39%. That's what I would
Interesting.
do. Nikki Haley, I mean, the closest margin is 30% in the states ahead. For all intents and purposes, he's the presumptive nominee.
Israel wants to commit genocide. That's
Yeah.
their goal. That's their only
They
goal.
don't give
They
a
don't give a
fuck
shit about the
hostages.
hostages. That was proven when they executed their own hostages. So, at the end of the day, everything that they say is a lie.
Same with Qatar. Qatar sucks.
Yeah. So don't believe anything they fucking say. Their real goal is to expel the Palestinians by force or to coerce them to do it themselves.
Imagine having like higher rates of slavery than fucking Yemen.
Now, this is actually very reasonable political analysis, and I'll get to that in a moment. But Trump, for his part, isn't interested in what's reasonable or what's accurate. He is interested in fealty. And because Kayleigh McEnany didn't just breathlessly grovel at his feet and explain how he will win and Joe Biden will lose, and the whole world loves Trump, and anyone who doesn't should be jailed
Because Trump is a fascist. This is what fascists do. This is exactly how fascists act. This is the counting heads
I
stage.
still think the main reason Trump is mad is because somebody called him a loser at that Haley rally.
she didn't do that. Here's what Trump had to say. He took to Truth Social, writing, "I don't need any advice from Rhino Kayleigh McEnany on Fox. Just had a giant victory over a badly failing candidate, Bird Brain, and she's telling me what I can do better. Save your
Bad
advice for
nickname.
Nikki." That's apparently
Bad nickname. That's not a good one. Like, you could do better. Come on, Trump.
None of his fucking names are good.
They were all hilarious, but that one is just not good.
Ron DeSanctimonious is terrible. Meatball Ron was funny, and that's why it was immediately adopted by the left, but he never said it.
all it takes to fall out of favor with Donald Trump. If you don't blindly perpetuate his talking points and give him total fealty, you get publicly shamed. And let's be clear, this isn't a one-off. This is what happens every single time. Donald Trump said that Paul Manafort, his campaign chairman, came into the campaign very late and was with us for a short period of time. He called George Papadopoulos, his foreign policy advisor, a low-level volunteer. He said of Gordon Sondland, his EU ambassador and campaign donor, "I have not spoken to him much. This is not a man I know well." He said Michael Cohen, his own lawyer
it sure
and
would.
fixer, did a quote.
And that's literally what I've been saying
is
is it's like, I'll vote for whoever gives Ukraine more fighter jets.
Yeah.
Like, they just approved Turkey to get M6 or not M16s, F-16s.
Yeah,
because that's what they got a little treat because they cooperated with NATO.
Yeah.
So they get a treat. It's like, here you go, some more tools to bomb the Kurds.
Yeah, great.
They also are expanding their fucking border with the Kurds, just like how Gaza is being expanded.
Of Sidney Powell. He wrote, "Despite the fake news reports to the contrary, and without even reaching out to ask the Trump campaign, Ms. Powell was not my attorney and never was. In fact, she would have been conflicted."
Here's the thing: the way they're blocking shit already, right? The right wing and the way they're tying Ukraine to block Ukraine. If a Republican was in there who cared about Ukraine and was sending shit to Ukraine, it wouldn't get blocked. It would just flow. Because that's the games we play in America.
List goes on and on, but the point here is clear. Donald Trump will throw you under the bus the moment he feels that you become politically inconvenient for him. And the only thing more embarrassing than being thrown under the bus by Donald Trump is the fact that any of these people sell their soul to the guy in the first place, thinking that somehow...
No. What is the most pathetic thing is people like Vivek being insulted in front of everybody and then groveling at his feet.
Tim Scott
pathetic.
Did it, literally right after being insulted. Or Tom Scott.
And Vivek goes on flagrant and licks his balls.
You know that hungry
hilarious
Ron DeSantis meme?
You know?
Hungry. It's like a voiceover. It's not him actually talking, but it matches his lips perfectly.
Oh, that's very funny.
It won't eventually happen to them too. At some point, everyone will be discarded by Donald Trump. Even the people who are so deluded into thinking that they, unlike everyone else, are special. As for Kayleigh McEnany committing the sin of uttering just a few honest words, she's actually right. For all of the media,
like he's literally unraveling as we watch. And I really hope people wake up before the actual election happens.
breathless coverage of his flaws, Joe Biden has very little issue right now consolidating support among Democrats. Sure, there are the expected defections for one thing or another, but largely he's uniting his coalition. Donald Trump, however, doesn't have that luxury. As McEnany said, 7 in 10 Haley voters in New Hampshire said that they wouldn't vote for Trump.
Also, so many people are going to get pulled to RFK from Trump. I don't think people are, if he's actually on the ballot, I don't think people are accounting for that fact. So it'll be interesting.
And Nikki Haley isn't some left-wing spoiler. She is a lifelong Republican. She was the South Carolina governor. She was Donald Trump's own UN ambassador. And what's worse, in New Hampshire, she garnered nearly half of the vote. In other words, 70% of Nikki Haley's voters, which account for about 45% of the entire Republican primary electorate, are not just casually voting for Haley because they prefer her over Trump
Okay,
for
ready?
now.
This is so funny. People are posting this being like, Ron DeSantis, when he sees that there's Trump boot to lick.
Hungry. Hungry.
Nominee is in the end. These are
Awesome.
people who have declared that they won't vote for Donald Trump, meaning they are absolutely ripe to be picked off by Joe Biden. And if you don't believe me, take it from those
True.
voters themselves.
Versus Biden, what are you going to do?
That really puts me in a quandary. I frankly am more scared of the Trump term.
Georgia
than the
Maloney's
Biden
pushing
term.
hard for that EU army.
Oh, is she really?
Yeah, super hard. She's big on it.
Crazy. Why?
I don't know.
You're missing it. But Baloney
They just
didn't
did, like,
miss
a lot
it.
of-
She understands it perfectly.
Maloney.
Watch.
EU, like all of them were there. So like,
Yeah.
Maloney highlights. I just haven't looked at stuff.
Yeah.
Either voting for myself as a protest
What happened in
or
Europe?
for Biden.
And who'd you vote for?
Nikki Haley.
Nikki Haley.
Yes.
When did you decide to vote for her?
Yesterday, 4 hours between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. I decided to vote for Haley.
Oh, it's a very specific hour time. I like
That was
So
very
what made you
specific. What the
decide?
fuck?
What about her excites you?
Well, I wanted to vote for Chris Christie, but he dropped out.
Haha.
What excites me about her is that she
Yeah, it's so funny
Chris
because
Christie was blowing her up.
It's so funny because she was literally pro-Russia until the moment she was elected.
Yeah.
Like until the
Isn't that
Ukraine
funny?
war actually kicked off, and she's so smart. She
She's been
knows
playing
that she's
politics so
consolidating
well.
power. She knows she's so unlike Orban, right? Like
Yeah.
she's gonna come to the point where people actually like her as a populist. Like
Mhm.
she is like what it seems like one of the most effective fascists ever.
Yeah.
And like
very
her
annoying.
popularity has been waning, and like staying in power in Italy is very difficult. But even the laws she's passed, people have accused her of doing power grabs here. So
Well, at least we know that it doesn't really matter because she's Italian, and Italian fascists are lackluster at best. So
Mhm.
even if she does get a lot of power, it's like, you're just Italians. What are you going to do, beretta us? Fuck off.
to dictatorship and autocracy try to associate with Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm. Would you, she could do very well here in New Hampshire. We'll see. We don't know what's going to happen. If she doesn't and she's not the nominee, are you open to supporting Donald Trump?
Never.
Never. Would you be open to supporting Joe
Nice.
Biden?
I voted for Joe Biden. I would gladly vote
Hey,
for
there
him
you go.
again.
Look at
So
that.
it was a Haley or bust for you.
Yeah, she's closest to moderate.
If Donald Trump
Interesting.
does become the nominee, would you vote for him in the general election?
Under no circumstances.
What do you think you would do in the general event?
Biden.
Biden?
Yep.
Now, in terms of Biden being able
interesting.
to secure those
New
Haley
Hampshire's
voters,
such an
I spoke
interesting
with former
electoral
Republican
state. They're one of the
really
few states
is.
that actually have a democracy.
operative Tim Miller as part of our new series called Inside the Right. And here's
be so
You
hostile.
typed her name like baloney.
Right? And if the comparison is right, like Al Gore and Bill Bradley, it's not like in the New Hampshire
Yeah, it
primary
is.
in 2000.
You're missing it. But Baloney didn't miss it. She understands it
I
perfectly.
hate Al
Watch.
Gore, and I'd never vote for him. It's like, it's a family. It's a
Fucking
family
beetle
feud.
just
It's like a
flew at me
typical
and landed
primary.
on my shirt.
This is something that's a category difference. And if you look at the numbers across the board, that
S
conviction
tier
number
bug.
on the exit poll is 1, but just the Nikki
Most
Haley
bugs are
voters'
beetles.
views of Donald Trump's claims about the 2020 election, for example, 83%.
Is this the same guy who can't focus his
in
camera?
New Hampshire today?
No, this is just bad clips like the last one that was played that was fuzzy.
said they believe him to be lying about that. I just think that shows.
Are you drunk?
That the Haley
It certainly sounds like it.
contingent, the Haley coalition, is extremely hostile to Trump and very open to Biden. And I do think that is
He might
something
be.
the Biden campaign should be optimistic about. And it's something that we're
the
going to
bug
keep talking about. We're
slammed
going to keep
into my
watching.
monitor and
And
it's
I
stuck
don't think
upside
it's
down.
really going to show up at the polls for another month or two, right? There's just a little lag on this stuff as it sinks in with normie voters who aren't like watching political YouTubes constantly, right? And so I hope that there's a little lag on that, and I think that cadre of like Haley voters is going to be very gettable for Biden. It's something that we're obviously focused on in our kind of never Trump world over at the Bulwark.
Tim, building on exactly what you were just saying, you know, a lot of Haley's support is based on basically her voters not wanting Donald Trump, and they're not shy about coming out and saying that is the reason. 40% of her voters were voting for her because they didn't want her opponent. That was part of a CNN exit poll. How big of a problem is it for Donald Trump right now that at a time when he should be expanding his support, like, I mean, he lost the 2020 election by small margins, these base voters should be a given. He should be reaching out he should be using this time to like expand his support into independents and suburban moms and college educated voters, that instead he seems to be eroding support from within the Republican primary base.
It's because Trump is stupid. It's because it's vengeance. It's because he's not actually running. He just wants the power, and people are dumb enough to actually believe it and actually voting for it. Like, for anybody with a half a brain would be able to figure out that what Trump is talking about is bullshit.
I think the cable on your mic's loose or something.
Yeah, and he doesn't seem to be trying that hard, and about that. And so maybe that'll change at some point. But I don't know if you saw his speech on Monday night in New Hampshire. It was insane. And they were chanting QAnon chants at this speech. Like,
he's reactivated QAnon. He thinks he's still president. We were saying earlier that he's not entirely wrong. He sabotaged this Ukraine deal. So last minute, they threw a fucking grenade into this fucking border plan that was about to go through. This border plan is also what people aren't telling you. It's tied up with Mexico. Mexico is involved with this. We're literally strengthening like a North American union, and we're not putting it on paper that it's happening.
Insane.
And Trump sabotaged that, and the Republicans all like almost the entire like Republican Party ended up voting against this bill, putting it in limbo, meaning, you know, no fucking aid to Ukraine is coming now because of Donald Trump specifically. Yeah. Don't forget that. Because he's still
smiling at them.
The
he's talking about freeing the J6ers.
Yeah, insane.
It was a totally wheels off speech aimed at the hardest of the hardcore MAGA voters, like even like kind of casual Donald Trump supporters, like wouldn't even really know what he was talking about. He was so deep into like the expanded MAGA universe talking points. And so I do think that it's a problem for him. And I think that when you look at those Haley voters,
this one specifically was only going to be, I believe they cut everything except Ukraine and the border finally from the rest of this. But either way, it's all fucked. It's all fucked because of Donald Trump. We should just, but he just, even in prison, he'd still run this shit.
You know, there's going to be a certain percentage of them. If you look at the numbers, what jumped out as me is Haley only got 25% of the self-identified Republicans tonight, according to the exit polls. It could be off a little bit, but so some percentage of those, let's call it half, are Republicans and are going to end up voting for Trump, et cetera. But that's still a big percentage, right? Like you're still looking at a very significant number of Republicans, and then not to mention the independents and Democrats who voted for her, that are all going to be very gettable for Biden. Trump has shown no evidence that he's trying to appeal to those voters. And, you know, there was a little buzz in the commentary at the, like, you know, pundit class on cable. It was like, well, maybe he's going to pick Haley to his VP to reach out to those voters.
Got it.
Doesn't seem like it.
Nope.
I mean, who knows, right? But like he's insulting her on stage tonight. There's just not. He seems to be
exactly. He's not going to have anybody.
He literally he said anyone who donates to Nikki Haley is banned from MAGA.
I just don't understand how people don't see the obvious fascism in it.
They do. They don't care. That's what they want.
be like ride or die with his people right
Yeah, I'll
now.
show you the
And I
Nikki
think that
Haley
he's a
thing.
little bit high on his own supply of the poll numbers. I think he really thinks that he's winning. And I don't think he recognizes that there is this contingent of voters that really dislikes him. That is,
when he loses, I think another thing may happen, but we'll see.
Well, like I said, even if Trump goes to prison, he's still gonna run this shit.
No, I'm saying another like Jan 6 thing might happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We'll see.
It's
Why are you still sending me links?
Well, just look at this. The Haley. This is him feuding with Haley.
Yeah, this is the last thing.
We can't have a country in disarray and a world on fire and go through 4 more years of chaos. We won't survive it.
Speech. How many flags?
8.
You don't defeat Democrat chaos
88.
with Republican chaos.
Mhm.
Bring it, Donald. Show me
Dog
what
whistles.
you got.
That was Nikki Haley daring Donald Trump to go after. It's like waving a red sheet in front of a bull.
Well, it's
Trump
not that
going
hard.
Full scorched earth on Haley and her supporters. He posted on social media.
I mean,
yesterday,
Trump
quote,
is.
"Anybody that
It
makes
doesn't
a
like Trump is going to have so much control over. It doesn't matter if he loses or wins.
Mm.
Like he's not. It's like he's not going to. If he gets to the general election, he's not going to win there. He's going to keep the same control over the Senate that he has.
Not necessarily.
They're not leaving.
If Democrats sweep, then he's got nothing.
That's true. And because of Trump, they've continued to sweep. That's like I think
this is
Chris
very true.
Christie's like best point.
Mm.
And the only relevant point that he had is that Donald Trump has done nothing but make the Republicans lose because nobody
Yeah.
wants that shit.
Yeah.
The only
Only
people who
the
want it are the
extreme
people who
contingent.
really want it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone, and like also another thing is like he's an idiot because anytime somebody doesn't kiss his ring, he burns them.
Yeah, he
he's
burns the bridge.
So he's going to create enough enemies where he doesn't have any allies.
Yeah, exactly. So what should be happening is encourage this behavior. So it's a self.
No, we don't think 8 flag. No, we don't think the 8 flags are really deliberate. It's just a joke that I have where it's like it looks extra fashy if you have too many flags behind you. like 3 American flags. Okay, dude, calm the fuck down.
Yeah, Netanyahu only had 1 flag. Clearly, not a fascist, genocidal psychopath.
Yeah, so this is true too. So like it's like I honestly I don't want Trump anywhere near that fucking ballot. I could care less if the Democrats sweep.
Yeah, he just shouldn't be on it. That's the point. So this is why I am still hanging out for this Supreme Court legislation.
Imagine if they come after like because it's like, oh, you supported an insurrectionist because you're like doing his bidding in Congress. Imagine if that happened. It won't, but
it won't. That probably would cause some kind of conflict.
I just want him to go away. That's all. I just want him to go back to fucking normal.
Hopefully, the McDonald's he eats every day kills him.
That would be great.
Hopefully, it's on camera. That would be excellent.
I'm stroking out.
Dude, do you know how many memes would happen if Trump has a cardiac arrest on stage and just goes stiff and falls over like a board? Do you know how many
the odds of it
fucking
happening
memes would
are
exist?
pretty like higher than other people.
I am aware.
Like if it's gonna happen to someone, that's probably
It'd be him. Yeah, like the chances are pretty high.
All right, who's more unhealthy, Trump or Liver King?
Liver King.
I had to block him. I couldn't fucking seeing that disgusting shit. On
Dude,
my feed.
I saw one post and I commented under one of someone's reply. I'm like, dude, don't worry. Let him do whatever he wants. The steroids have already taken 40 years off his life. He hasn't got long left.
in quotes, we're not sure why, to Bird Brain, his name for Nikki Haley. From the moment forth, will be permanently banned from the MAGA camp. We don't want them and will not accept them because we put America first and always will.
This comes after CNN reported that Trump was, quote, seething when Haley did not drop out of the race after Trump won New Hampshire. With us now, former Trump White House communications director and now Trump critic, Anthony Scaramucci.
poggers.
Trump realist. I don't really see myself as a Trump critic.
Okay,
I'm just
fair.
a Trump realist.
Okay,
But
fair.
Good morning, guys.
Give us your real take.
My resolution?
Nikki Haley.
Airstrikes. Bomb them. Bomb them. Keep bombing them. Bomb them again and again.
His real
She
takes.
can taunt Trump.
She's like too insane for
effectively
Fox
in a way that
News.
hurts
It's wild she's on there.
Oh, she's hurting him. I mean, you know, you have to look at the case that she's making against him, and then you have to look at the exit polling on the voters that are saying they're not going to cross over to Donald
Health
Trump. And
minister.
so she is hurting him. He knows she's hurting him. And if you look at the results in New Hampshire,
he's
if you're
better
on
than
his
most of the health
campaign,
ministers.
you can pretend that they were great, but they're really not that great. He got 50-ish% of the vote.
See, if
which
it
means that
continues like
50%
this, the fake Republican race will actually get interesting. You know, I mean, it's been fine. Like, I always think this stuff is interesting. Like, I always love seeing the presidential debates because they're fun.
Yeah, they are fun. I enjoy it.
They're fun to
I first tuned in 2016. That was like the first election I paid attention to. So great timing.
Of the Republicans really don't want him. And then when you do the exit polling, it was 43 in, I think, Iowa. 70+% of the Haley voters in New Hampshire said, we're not voting for Donald Trump in the election. Now, you know, that killed Hillary Clinton with the Bernie Sanders voters in 2016.
Yeah.
And of course, Barack Obama got 75% of the Hillary Clinton voters in 2008. So this is really hurting Donald Trump. He knows that, which is why he's so
I
frustrated.
feel like nothing ever happens, bro.
Yeah, don't. It's
happens.
it's silly. It won't end. But hopefully, but it won't.
Nothing ever happens.
Like everything just continues rolling
So
on.
it was
because
like the
people have
boat.
money
You
to
know, there's
make.
a Wikipedia page for the border crisis. Like, people actually are LARPing it that hard.
Crazy.
And it's like flags against, for and against, like it's a war wiki entry.
Oh my God.
And then it's like leaders, and it's all the governors.
That's funny as.
The irony of New Hampshire is it almost for sure locked up the eventual nomination for Donald Trump, or made that very clear. And yet it also proved that Haley's theory of the case for this race is largely accurate on the donor side of things. You know, Haley can run as long as she has money, and she's had it. And people.
Middle East is fine.
Yeah, the Middle East is fine. Ukraine
literally
isn't
nothing
going
is
to do anything. Taiwan.
I was joking that the U.S. is going to be doing ops with the Houthis by the end of the year again.
And Taiwan, China is capable. China's not capable of invasion.
Like, who did we? Was it The Intercept where I found that article where it was like, U.S. Special Forces in Yemen might complicate these airstrikes. And it's like, come on, tie the knot. Realize that the U.S. Special Forces work with the Houthis. Come on.
Yeah.
Because it's only there's only been like one subtle report about it, and it has to relate to the child soldiers with the SAS in Britain.
People up here on Wall Street like her. What are you hearing when you talk to Republican donors, big money guys who are watching this race right now? Well,
Do we have any other clips, or is it just this dude? Do
I
we care
mean,
what Scaramouche has to say?
Not really.
No.
But, you know, the extreme's basically over now. But just this whole thing with Haley, like, it's not going beyond this unless somebody can keep her in where she continues losing. But she's not winning. She's not winning her home state. It's like the only other state she can actually win is Virginia, and that's not for a long time. She'll be definitely out by the time that happens. But I want her to go as long as these billionaires give her money, because she has no grassroots backing.
Yeah, well, hopefully they keep doing it. That'd be nice. Anyway, soundbite. What do we finish on? Let's go with.
And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House. Yeah!